Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
And we're up. Cameron Haynes, author.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be an author? You've actually been an author for a long time, though.
Yeah, but it's
backcountry bow hunting. When did you write that?
not really. Those didn't really count. Those are like bow hunting books. So it's like, I mean, I guess it counts, but it's different than this is an actual book.
This is a real book.
Yeah.
Endure. It's from a real publisher.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's
so
legit.
The other ones weren't really like that. I've had two other books. Backcountry bow hunting trophy blacktail was in 1999, and backcountry bow hunting was in 2006.
And then this one is tomorrow, which is today. If you're listening to this, it's coming out today. It's Endure, and it's got that face of you from when you were moose hunting. You have that.
Yeah, that's
the manliest photo with the cheek cut and the blood trickling down your face. When you had that, when the blood was trickling down your face, were you like, "Ooh, get some pictures"?
No,
this is pretty fucking manly.
I was so Roy wasn't up there. That was Roy and I's last hunt, but he wasn't up there yet. And I was going through these alders, snow covered, pretty foggy, and it was weird. When you're fighting through alders, they're slapping you in the face and things like that. And I slipped, and there's one that was broke, and it was kind of sharp, and I slipped, and it went right on my cheek. And I was thinking to myself at that time, I'm like, could have taken out an eye.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been great. But it just did that.
There it is. Come on, Ben. That's probably one of the most badass pictures a person's ever taken.
So I got up. Thank you, selfie. And I got up there, and then I got to the top and was kind of looking around, and you see it's kind of foggy back there. And then I didn't know I actually had blood. And then, yeah.
Did
selfie.
you like look at it in a selfie to find the blood?
I had my phone. I looked. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Snap a shot of that. Impress all the fellas back home.
Yeah. Well, it turned in. It's meaningful because it was an amazing hunt. It was a hard hunt, and it was Roy and I had, it was a hunt it's what we love to do. Hard, cold, miserable, grizzly bears, long pack, killed a good bull.
And this is for people that don't know, Roy was your good friend who got you into bow hunting, who died shortly afterwards. He fell while sheep hunting and fell to his death, which is a lot more common than I thought it was. I was talking to someone about people falling while sheep hunting, and he was saying like it happens every year. Yeah,
it's what I've noticed, because there's a lot of guys I look up to because of their mountain abilities or hunting, or they're just I don't know, just people I look up to. If you spend a lot of time in the mountains, there's risk, and eventually it only takes one.
And those kind of mountains, like those sheep hunting mountains, are very steep. It's rugged terrain, and it's snowy and cliff.
Sometimes. Where Roy fell, it was dry at that time, and it was just one, because there's a dry side of the mountain, and then on the north side or the other side, it's cooler, so there's more snow and the ice, as you mentioned. Like where I killed my sheep on that same hunt in 2008, that was on the cold side. Where he fell on the warm side, it was dry, but it's so steep, and it just takes one mistake, and he'd been up there for years.
Remy Warren was on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me a story about sheep hunting that he was guiding actually, and he was guiding this woman, and she killed a sheep, but it fell on this like ledge on a cliff, and so he figured, I'll just climb over there and knock it loose. And then he climbed over there and knocked it loose, and then basically had a panic attack, and he realized like how steep it was and how very dangerous it was. And then when he got back, the woman was screaming and cussing and hitting him. Don't you ever fucking do that again? Like,
right.
Like,
she was scared.
She was terrified because he almost died. I mean, he was like, it's the most scared I've ever been while like climbing around on something.
What the hardest thing for me is climbing up is way different than trying to come down.
Yes.
And you can feel, and gravity's kind of keeping you against the rocks a little bit. It's just different. You climbing up, you're looking for handholds and footholds, but coming down,
you can't see.
Everything changes.
Yeah,
and
that's what he said. That was the thing, is him trying to make his way back. He made his way over there, but making his way back, he's like, oh my God, I can't go back the way I came. He had to go all the way up.
Oh, right.
And then crest over the top, and that was the only way he could do it.
Thank God that was possible.
Thank God it was possible, because he didn't know it was possible.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have had to try to come down something that sketchy,
What the fuck?
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And, falling there, rocks, it doesn't take a long fall to be dangerous.
I was reading about this guy who died in front of his family recently on a vacation. He was cliff diving, and he decided to try to just make this crazy jump, and he didn't jump far enough, and he hit the rocks, and his family was filming him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Fuck cliff diving.
Yeah.
Those people are out of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like people do things for these like quick little weird thrills.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand it for the life of me. Maybe it's because I know so many people that have gotten hurt doing dangerous things that I think are maybe more worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like hunting or like,
Right. There's a reward at the end.
But like when we talked to Andy Stumpf, Andy, that goddamn psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
He's so crazy. He's always like sending me like videos of him skydiving. Don't you want to try this? I'm like, no.
Oh, that's even, but
All
he's in
of
the
it.
squirrel suit
The
also.
squirrel suit's the scariest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just amazing. But yeah, people need that thrill, makes them feel alive, I think.
I don't get it. I'm good.
Yeah. I like if I'm doing something, if it's an activity, if I'm hunting grizzly or hunting buffalo or something like that.
Right.
I'll take the risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, just risk for risk. It's a little different.
There's a different kind of a thrill being in the wild. It's weird. It's hard to describe when people like say to me like, "Why do you like hunting?" I'm not just for the meat, not just because it's difficult to do, but there's a thing about being in the real wild. Like when we're in the mountains in Utah and there's big cats out there. I told you I saw that giant cat last year. When they're out there too, there's like an extra crackle in the air. It's like everywhere you walk, it's like you're looking around. And now that I saw one, like within 30 yards, now I've just got like a totally different feeling about it. Because I always knew they were there.
Yeah.
But then when you see one, and that's not even the scariest. The scariest is grizzlies.
Yeah.
Seeing a grizzly bear, I mean, I saw one with Jen up in Alberta, but it wasn't even a big one. It was like 6 feet away. But just the way he looked at me, I was like, oh my God, that's so, they look at you so different.
Yeah, that stare means something. I mean, there's,
Can I eat you?
Yeah, you know what they're capable of because to them, that's all they do. They're measuring risk, reward.
Yeah.
And they're calculating.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but that, I mean, that unpredictability, that's what, when you're in grizzly country, like in Alaska, especially at night, that's where you feel very vulnerable in your tent, and knowing that those things are out there, they could be close. That's tough.
There's just a thin piece of cloth between you and a fucking 900-pound enormous animal.
Yeah.
That's been killing things its whole life.
That was the biggest thing. One of my first, I think it was the very first trip I took to Alaska with Roy. He had moved up there, and we went to Kodiak Island, just got dropped off. And we split up because we like to, call the shots, do our own thing, just looking for adventure. Mostly neither one of us wanted to, at that time, we were pretty competitive. So if we saw an animal, we both wanted to kill it.
Right.
So to eliminate that problem, we just split up. Good luck. And then go make our own luck. But at night, because it would get dark, you're hunting the rut, which is late in the year, say late October, early November. It gets dark at, I think, 4 in the afternoon. And then it doesn't get light till, I think it's dark 17 hours.
Oh, wow.
And you're just in this little tent, and there's brown bear on Kodiak Island. And you're just hunkered down, and what do you do? Hoping. Yeah, it's a long night. And those, I saw one the first time there, and it looked like a Volkswagen bug, like, but on legs. It's just like, that's how big it looked. I was just like, oh my, I don't only see black bear.
A bug or a bus?
Like a bug.
A bug.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
A car.
Like a car, yeah. Beetle, bug, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
But it looked like that big, but a bear. So big as a car, and maybe it was.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? You would say, like, why would anybody want to be around that? But they make the experience more interesting because you are around them.
Yeah.
Because
it's part of the adventure.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the reality of where you are. Like, you are in an ecosystem, and there's apex predators, and then there's prey animals, and then you every now and then enter
Somewhere
into this
in between.
world, and you're kind of somewhere in between. Yeah, and you're running around, and if you're successful, you get an animal, and then you're at home eating that animal, weeks, months later, thinking about that experience, and it brings that experience back to you in a weird way. It's very hard to describe to people, but when I eat a piece of elk, I think of where I was when I shot that animal. And
for me, it's not, the meat kind of looks like meat, but for me, where it's really driven home, the reality is when I open the freezer and I see how the packages are labeled, and it'll say Colorado elk backstrap,
right,
2020, and I go right back. Those packages of meat capture this memory or this experience like nothing else to me, because it's like saying what the animal is, what year it was, and then I remember that episode or that experience. And a freezer with meat in it just does it.
And it's not regular meat either. It's like, I've been talking to Jocko about this. It's like superfood. There's something about it. Like for someone who's eaten steak their whole life, and then you eat elk, you're like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel so good? It's like there's something in that meat. There's like a quality to wild game. And I think people want to talk about like, whether or not ranchers use hormones or antibiotics. There's a lot of that talk. I'm not sure if they do or don't. I don't think I feel that in the meat. But what I feel is the difference between an animal that is running away from giant cats and wolves and bears, and it's just alive.
Yeah.
The meat is alive. There's some power to it. It's a more potent living creature. And when you eat that more potent living creature, it's more nutritious. That's proven by science. I mean, when they analyze the difference between a 12-ounce piece of elk versus a 12-ounce piece of beef, it's like double the protein.
Right.
And who knows what the amino acid count is and vitamin count, but I'm sure it's through the roof.
And the stuff they may be putting in or feeding the animal, the beef.
Right. I don't know what they're feeding them.
Me
I mean,
neither.
it's hard to say because some people are just pure grass-fed, regenerative farming, and that's really good for you. And it tastes different than when you buy grain-fed cattle, which is still pretty good. But it's just the difference in the way you feel after you eat it.
I noticed this. So I started hunting in Western Oregon, which is more, it's populated, little towns and cities and things like that. In Eastern Oregon, it's bigger, more wild country. So I was used to hunting elk just in the small logging community outside of there on Weyerhaeuser ground. And those elk see people. There's not, there's some lions, but not like in the wilderness. There's some bears, but not like back there now. And now in the wilderness, there's wolves actually. But I noticed a difference in the animals, how they behaved and how much faster they were in the wilderness. So I would say it was more of a challenge because those elk back there could actually move by the time the arrow got there. And an elk normally will stand there, and because they're 800 pounds, they're not like quick like an axis deer or something like that. Their reactions just aren't like that. They're not wired that same way. But in the wilderness, I was like, these elk are high octane. This is like a whole nother level of hunting. I got to be better because these elk are on another level of reaction time and being it felt more wild. So then, you have, being a human is so crazy. You think all these different paths and putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. So I'm like, well, if they're more wild back here and I'm eating them, maybe I'm going to be stronger, faster. And so I had in my head right then that this meat that I'm eating and the animal, it's going to impact me and how I react. So that's why, and people don't get it, and maybe there is no difference, but when I eat bear, I feel ultra beast-like. I'm like, I ate bear meat. You know?
There's something to that.
I feel it. Whether it's true or not, whatever. You can say whatever you want, but I just know how I feel. So you can't tell me how I feel's wrong.
Well, there's for sure something in it's more nutritious to eat wild game. It's 100% more nutritious. It's just a fact. But it's like, why is it more nutritious? Like, why are they more potent? And it only makes sense that an animal that has to get away from other predators, an animal that has to live that hard scrabble life in the wilderness, it's harder to get and more rewarding when you get it. And look at all the people that we know that eat wild game. They're pretty damn healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you and Ranella and like all the guys that we know, Remy, that eat wild game all the time, they look pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Healthy folks.
Definitely.
There's something to that. And there's something, again, from me, a guy who, for 40 plus years of my life didn't eat wild game, and then I eat it all the time.
Right.
It's different. It's different.
I get beat up for this too because I guess, vegans can say whatever they want about hunters and it's good to go. I remember I put up one thing about a vegan. I can't remember what it was. It's like their diet, and it's like they went from this healthy person to looking pretty sickly.
Oh, there's a lot of those.
And it's kind of a meme joke thing, and I'm just like, oh no, actually, God. And I'm probably stepping in. I know you can't get canceled, but maybe I can. But I put up something about Canelo. Because I guess he went
vegan for his last fight.
And all I put up was, that worked well.
Yeah. I reposted it. I reposted it in my Instagram stories.
I got so much hate for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, we get crucified for being, killers and meat eaters and all this. I put up one joke meme about Canelo who looked awful compared to how and with the one thing that changed was his diet, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. But anyway.
Well, there's two things going on there. One, Bivol is a real legit light heavyweight, and that's only the second light heavyweight that Canelo had fought. The first one was Kovalev, but Kovalev was at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Kovalev had lost a bunch of times. He'd been stopped, and he wasn't the same guy as he was like when he fought Andre Ward the first time. Well,
right.
Kovalev, when he was the man, when he was a light heavyweight champion, was a real savage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was winning that fight with Canelo too, by the way. There's a reason why there's weight classes. And
right.
Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather. I believe he fought him at 152 pounds, which is the lightest he's ever fought. Generally, he would fight at 154, and then he moved up, fought middleweight, and that's where he fought Gennady. I think he fought Triple G. Gennady Golovkin. I think he fought him at 60, or it might have been super middleweight. Find out if that's. So then there's a jump, man, and I think it was 160. At Golovkin was the middleweight champion, and so that 15-pound jump is giant.
But so you want to go up in weight and quit eating meat?
Let's see what it says here. 60. Yeah, okay. So that was they fought twice. They were supposed to fight a third time, but it looks like he's going to have a rematch with Bivol instead.
But if you're going to go up.
Yeah. You don't, well, it's like he watched that documentary on Netflix, Game Changers, and there's a lot of, look, if you want to eat only vegan and you want to do it for ethical reasons and you don't want to be involved in animal death, I get it. You don't want to be involved in factory farming, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not true when you say that it gives you a significant athletic performance boost. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. There's no real proof of that. And they fucked with some reality when they made that. There's no real elite professional athletes at the highest level that I'm aware of that are vegan. I don't think it has the same bioavailability as animal protein. And this is coming from nutritionists that are unbiased and objective, not coming from guys like, the carnivore MD, Paul Saladino, guys who are proselytizing to eat carnivorously. This is just from regular scientists. They'll tell you you can get as much protein from X amount of broccoli as you can from a steak. The problem is it's not the same kind of protein. It's not as bioavailable.
And if surviving is one thing.
Right. Thriving.
Performing or thriving is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
You can eat a lot of shit and just get by and not die.
That's the real question.
But are you trying to be optimum performance at whatever you do?
I was a vegetarian for 6 months. Well, never tell you that when I was fighting because I was having a really hard time making weight, and I was competing when I was 17. I won the state championship at 140 pounds, and the next weight class was 154, and I was struggling I couldn't really I wasn't 140. I was 153, 154, and I would dehydrate the shit out of myself, make the weight, and then I have to fight on the same day. It was not good, and I was fighting. I won, but I felt like shit. I was I could have fucked those guys up if I was, if I felt my best.
Strong, right.
And then I did it for a while to try to lean out, but I was just tired all the time.
Yeah.
And I know I probably wasn't doing it right, and I've never done it right, where, you eat pea protein and you make sure you balance your macros and have someone But when I started eating meat, that's when I became at my best. When I went on my best performance run as a competitor, it was all eating meat, and that's mostly what I ate was meat.
Right.
And
Well,
I felt a lot different. And that was the only example that I've ever had because it's the only stretch of my life when I was competing, a very intense thing, and I ate nothing but vegetables for like a good 6 months.
6 months. That's a long time.
It was a long time. I tried as long because I had my instructor was very tall, and we were from the same weight class. You know, it was 140. It might have been 147, whatever it was. I forget what the weight class was, but it was in the 40s. And then he was like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". And he was in the same weight class as me when he was younger and was competing. So I was like brainwashed to think like I'm too short for this fucking weight class. I got to starve myself.
Yeah.
But it's just body types.
Right.
I was built way different than him. I'm wider and thicker. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I got way better as soon as I stopped doing that. And I started, but also it's like I'm also not starving myself. So there's that too. You know, oftentimes in the UFC, you'll see guys when they go up in weight, they become their best version. Like Charles Oliveira is a great example of that. Like he fought for 145 for a while, and he fought very well, but never really hit the strides that he hit when he went up to 155.
He's on a roll now.
Oh my God, he's so good.
He's on a roll.
He's so good.
And you know, people take different approaches. They talk smack, get fights. You know, there's a whole different ways to do it. He's so respectful. And so nice.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, whatever, I guess it's different for everybody, but man, he's got something that's working right now, and he's hard not to root for.
Yeah, well, that's who he is. He's a very, very nice guy. And he got screwed in his last fight. There was some shenanigans with the scale. Some people had messed with the scale. Here's a problem with these digital scales. Foreign fighters, they use kilograms. And in America, obviously, we use pounds.
Right.
And so the foreign fighters were, like, these scales are calibrated. And then the foreign fighters would reset the scale so they could switch it back to kilograms. So it fucks up the whole calibration.
Oh, I see.
And so he would weigh in, or he weighed in like the night before the weigh-ins. He was like, oh, I'm good to go. And then in the morning, he goes and shows up for the weight cut, and it's a pound plus off. And that is directly related to this calibration thing.
Calibration issue, yeah,
so
makes sense.
Now they have the UFC has a new policy because of this, where they have a guard who watches over the scale 24 hours a day. Like they have shifts where no one can fuck with the scale. Like if you're going to get on that scale to try yourself, they're going to watch you like a hawk, and you don't press any buttons. You don't just get on. What's your weight? Get off. That's it. So these guys were monkeying around with the scale, and
that's surprising that even at the level that UFC's at right now, still hadn't got that figured out.
It's Phoenix.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not a knock on Phoenix. I love Phoenix. It's just that the people that are there don't do high level world championship MMA fights on a regular basis. They do a few. You know, we've had a good time there. Yeah. They've had some good events there, but they just made a mistake. They'll let these guys do it, and there should have been someone watching the scale. And the scale was off, and that's a fact. And that's why Oliveira, look, it's not the best excuse because Justin Gaethje made weight.
Yeah.
Everybody else made weight except one of the women that fought earlier in the night. She didn't make weight, but that's it.
But how? So I wanted Gaethje in that fight. I'm a Justin Gaethje fan. I love all his team. I like his attitude. I like he's just a
he's awesome.
So tough. But how impressive is it that Oliveira can have that all that drama, which you know how you got to be in the right mindset to fight, I imagine. And he's got to overcome all this, and still then he gets rocked. Yeah. Gets rocked twice by Gaethje, who's got, you know, hands of stone, and still comes back and wins.
Well, here's what's interesting about Charles Oliveira. When Charles Oliveira fights, even though he's the champion, he fights like a berserker. He puts himself in danger. Like, he doesn't fight safe. He doesn't fight to try to outpoint you. He doesn't fight tactically, like where he's trying to get, you know, the least amount of damage and, you know, and drag you into deep water and then strategically try to take you out the fourth and fifth round. No. From the moment the first bell rings, he's coming at you.
Engaging,
guns blazing. And Gaethje was coming at him too, but it's like Gaethje was overwhelmed by Oliveira's pace and his aggression. It's why, and even when Gaethje cracked him, Oliveira's so different than anybody else. When he gets hit, he just lays on his back.
Yeah.
And he's like, come get some of this. And nobody wants that
He
guard
gets a
game.
break. So
He's got the most submissions in the history of the sport.
He recovers.
Yes,
So
because nobody wants to go to the ground with
Right.
him.
Normally, guys would just come bombing in.
Yeah.
Just try to land anything extra. It's like
Yeah.
when you wound an animal, any other arrow in it is
Right.
go. You just
Right.
trying to glance something off, catch something. Most time, guys will hurt a guy, come in and just go crazy. But not with him.
No, you don't want that ground game.
Yeah.
His ground game is so elite. It's so good. I mean, I wonder how he would do in a like world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. Because I think he would do very well. Because I watched the way he finishes submissions, the way he syncs things up. I mean, it is top of the food chain stuff. I've seen a lot of jiu-jitsu in my days. I've rarely seen anyone compete in MMA that closes the show like Oliveira when the fight goes to the ground.
It was
His
smooth.
shit is razor sharp. Razor
Smooth.
sharp.
He had-
Smooth.
He hurt Justin and was so just immediately on his
Yeah.
back. And like I think went for a couple different things, but ended up getting under his chin and getting him. But the only person I haven't watched all his fights like you, but I saw Chandler get out of that somehow. You remember that?
Yep.
He had he was on Chandler's back,
Yep.
had the choke in. Chandler somehow spun.
Chandler is an animal. Look, he's an animal. That
Yeah.
guy, here's another guy. That's a do or die. That's
Yeah.
a kill or be killed guy right there.
Oh, and Tony had him hurt a little bit.
Well, Tony cracked him a couple of times. The thing about Chandler is like, you got to take him out. He's not going to quit.
No.
He's zero quit in him. You got to take him out. And his style, he's also got that kill or be killed style. He puts himself in danger too.
Yeah.
And he loses sometimes.
Sometimes.
You know, and he lost to Oliveira when they fought. But he had Oliveira in deep shit in that first
so
round.
close.
He came that close to being the champion of the world. That close.
And that's another thing I'm so impressed with. That's why, I mean, I mentioned Chandler in the book because we've trained together, but I'm so impressed by that mental ability to, so he was, you said this close to a world championship, didn't get it. How devastating would that be? And his attitude is like, well, back to work, see you at the top.
Yeah, he's got a great attitude.
How,
It's amazing. That's also why he's
Here's where
so loved. Yeah. So he had great defense, which is very impressive.
there.
Very impressive and scrambled out. But he's also like this ball of muscle.
Oh, I
he's
know.
so
So
physically strong. When I was standing next to him, when I was interviewing him after the fight, I'm like, how the fuck do you weigh 155 pounds?
he looks like he's 190.
He is 190. I
Yeah.
guarantee you right now, if you get on the scale, he's 190. So
Solid
he
muscle.
weighs 155 for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
At the most, you know, and then he rehydrates, and I bet he's 170 plus when he fights, and
Yeah.
then once he like fully fuels himself, like over the next couple of days after the fight, he was 186 the other day.
Okay.
Right after the fight.
Yeah.
Right after the fight with Ferguson, they did he was talking about it, and he said he was 186 pounds.
And he's killing the mic too after the fight.
Oh my God! It's like that was the one when I interviewed him after that fight. It was the best ever post-fight speech I've ever heard in my life. He's
good.
screaming, Conor McGregor, like
Yeah, I know. I mean, he is so good at that.
he's amazing at it. He's
So
amazing at it.
Yeah. So how can you? So you're already planning on winning, obviously, but then you already have this whole thing. You've got your bell rung a little bit just to be so dialed in live. Most people can't talk live without screwing up.
Right.
But screaming after a fight and just
Yeah.
kill it.
Well, he does that the way he does everything. The way
Yeah.
he trains, the way he fights.
So prepared.
He's just an animal.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
also like full
smart.
tilt. Yeah, he's very smart. Very smart. Very well prepared. But prepared like scientifically in terms of his strength and conditioning, technically. You know, he's a Henry Hooft guy, so it's like his like
Yeah,
look at the
there
size
it
of
is.
him. How's that 155 pounds? Go right there. I'm 200 pounds.
Look
Look at that. Look at the size of him. Look at the size of him. Look how
Yeah.
big he is.
I know.
How fucking big is he?
He looks as big as you.
Exactly. How the fuck is that guy 155 pounds? It makes zero sense. He's so big.
Yeah.
He's a tank.
Yeah, and then also these guys wear their heart on the sleeve. They put so much into it. He gets up on that cage and then he's looking for his son, and he's getting
Yes.
kind of emotional.
Started
like
crying when he saw his son.
I mean,
Well, that was the first time his son had seen him fight live. And his son is
Just-
so young, he's got earphones on to keep his ears from
loud.
blowing out because that arena was insanity. Oh,
yeah.
look how cute.
I know. I got so much respect for Chandler.
He's amazing. He's
Yeah.
by the way, he's not a spring chicken either.
No.
Dude's 36 years old and in natural athletics, because being natural, meaning like, you're not taking any steroids or nothing.
Yeah.
36 is at the high end of
Right.
peak performance, generally speaking. For boxers, that's an old age.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of guys like Bernard Hopkins who compete well into their 40s and are at an elite level. But Bernard Hopkins is a completely different kind of fighter.
Yeah.
Bernard Hopkins was very safety first, very defensively sound, very fucking technical.
Yeah.
Like Bernard didn't take any
Not taking
chances
damage.
until he knew that he had you, and then he started turning it up. Super, super disciplined. Chandler is a berserker. He's just a wild man, and that knockout of Tony Ferguson was the most intense head kick knockout I think I've ever seen. Because it's rare that a guy is at a level of Tony Ferguson that just gets flatlined with a head kick like that.
Yeah.
And to have it be a front kick, like DC said it best. He said it wasn't even like a regular front kick. It was like he kicked a soccer ball.
Oh God.
Like he just swung his leg up and just
I
almost
heard him,
decapitated him.
I heard him say that Tony comes in wide, and so
Yes.
they felt like there was that channel up the middle.
Right.
And
But he said he didn't even plan that.
No, I know. But I guess just thinking of strikes in your head, up the middle strikes.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Landed.
My God.
I was actually worried for Tony. He was down for a while.
He was out unconscious for several minutes.
Yeah, that was scary.
It was scary. It was scary to be there because, knock on wood, there's never been a real death or serious. I don't want a real death. There's never been a death or serious injury inside the octagon. It's been broken
Right.
bones, but
Yeah.
that was a scary one.
It
But
was.
want to talk about a great attitude? Tony Ferguson, same thing. He's like onward and upward. The same goal, back on the grind.
I can't imagine.
Back training.
I can't imagine that job. You pretty much have to, I think, have that attitude and just saying, but you'd have to be questioning everything.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard.
It's, you're questioning it, and then you have to overrule those questions, right? That's the champion's curse, because the thing that gets you to the dance is this unflappable belief in yourself. But that's also the thing that makes you stick around too long.
Yeah.
Like when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Terry Norris. It was
Right.
like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to watch this. It's like when you realize a guy is not supposed to be in there against a guy who is at the peak of his abilities.
Yeah.
And that's when things get spooky, because it's like that's when you see like your heroes get tuned
Yeah.
up and smashed.
That's where the UFC's pretty good. They don't really put like the guys who've been in it forever against the new elite guys.
Right. Sometimes they do. I mean, it's just
I've heard talk of Diaz and
Khamzat. Yeah.
That's scary.
Well, Khamzat wants to fight everybody.
Yeah.
I kill everyone. But I'll tell you what, man, that fight with Gilbert Burns got a lot of people brave. A lot of people were more brave after that
Yeah.
fight because he looked
Yeah.
human in that fight.
He did.
And Gilbert Burns is a fucking animal.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
Another
that dude's
nice
an
guy.
animal. Super, super nice guy. And he's another guy who also hit his peak going up in weight.
Yeah.
When he fought at 155.
Right.
Gilbert's a big guy. When you stand next to him, you're like, how the fuck could he ever
Yeah,
have
he's
made
thick.
155?
He's not anywhere as big as Khamzat, though.
No, Khamzat is tall.
Remember how he looked giant back there?
Yeah, he's a big guy. It's a very tough weight cut for him, and when he makes it, he's so long.
Yeah.
And he's so dangerous with his strikes and with his wrestling, with everything, But the thing that we learned about Khamzat in that fight is he's not just a hammer. He can
Yeah,
take it
he
too.
took some damage.
Yeah, like when the nail gets hit. Sometimes a fighter is really good until someone puts pressure on them,
Right.
and then they fold up shop.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of resilience. They just
Right.
are very good aggressively. It's called being a front runner, and that was a thing in boxing about certain fighters. You would always say, well, he's good until he's pressed, and then you see his confidence fall
Yeah.
apart, and then. That we saw none of that with Khamzat because Gilbert spun his head around,
Yeah.
and it would have KO'd 99% of the people on the planet. But Khamzat immediately dove on after wobbled, dropped, and
Yeah.
he grabs a hold of a leg and then takes Gilbert down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good he is.
Yeah.
He fought just fucking with all of his soul. It was amazing.
That is a good point because you've seen people. I'm not going to say they're front runners because they're legends, but before Tyson lost to Douglas, it's like you thought he's never going to lose, right?
Right.
And Connor, he was on that roll where it's like these guys are never going to lose, and then they do, and then like something changes. It's something with the aura, maybe the belief in themselves a little bit. I don't know what, but he got challenged, and he had that same type of not even a man, like more of a machine.
Yeah.
and got hurt and still came back. And I mean, you're right. It means a lot.
It means a lot. You know, I mean, he's got to have to recover from that fight because that was a real brutal war. Both him and Gilbert, they need a lot of time off after that fight.
Yeah.
But we know a lot about Khamzat. We know that, first of all, we know that style, that seek and destroy, throw yourself into the fire style, it needs a little tweaking if you're going to fight Usman. It needs a little tweaking.
Guys,
yeah, you're not going to just steamroll everybody because he went through 4 fights in the UFC and was only hit twice. I mean, of course the guy's confident.
Yeah,
of
incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he said his right hand breaks mountains.
I'm not arguing with him.
No, that's pretty confident.
That's very confident.
I was like, damn, I love that line.
Well, when he fought Gerald Meerschaert and knocked him out with one punch, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, 17 seconds or
something. That
something.
was at 185 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even at 170. He goes up to 185. And he was scheduled to fight Luke Rockhold at one point at 185. He's a former champion. And then his team was like, listen, this is all fun and games, but stick to 170 and let's get a championship title. And you can do this. You could actually be a world champion at 170. Let's work our way. And then they had a hard time getting people to fight him, but of course Gilbert Burns will fight the devil.
Yeah.
You call Gilbert up, you got 6 weeks to prepare for the devil.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, Poha, where's the devil? Let's go. He's
I love
a real warrior.
I love those guys. I mean, the fight game.
That was an amazing fight, and that was an amazing fight for both guys. And a lot of people made a good argument that Gilbert could have won that fight.
Yeah,
it was a very, very, very close fight, and I don't think Gilbert lost any stock in taking that fight and losing that fight by decision. Like I said, quite a few people thought he won that fight.
Yeah, I mean I was there with you. Obviously, saw it. It seemed, very competitive, very close,
super close.
But it seemed like he took a little more damage, and I think there's more control.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again and just score it with a piece of paper and write down what I think, shots landed and stuff like that to really get it's hard when you're watching the fight. Yeah. Because one of the things that happens is when you expect a guy to win and the other guy starts doing well, sometimes you exaggerate it in your head that he's doing better than you thought. That is an issue with underdog performances. And Gilbert was, which is crazy that Gilbert was an underdog in that fight, considering he beat the brakes off Tyron Woodley. Yeah. He's beaten a lot of top flight
He dropped
fighters.
Usman.
Yeah.
Dropped Usman.
He did. He had Usman in some trouble.
Ultimately lost. But
it shows you how good Usman is. Usman is one of the greatest of all time. When you see that fight with Khamzat and Gilbert, and you think about the fight that Gilbert had with Usman, you realize how good Usman is. He's one of the greatest of all time in any weight class.
Yeah.
In any weight class. And he's he's there. And if Khamzat gets to him, if that becomes a fight, my God.
Well, I saw that also talking Poirier-Colby.
Yes.
See that?
But I don't think Poirier wants to fight him. I think Poirier said, fuck that guy. I don't want to give him any money. He's like, he's an asshole.
But he just said, he goes, let's do it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't get any other fights. What else is available for Poirier right now?
And I'm wondering if he's saying that knowing Colby won't fight because of this whole Masvidal thing. You know what I mean?
Well, you're friends with Colby. And what is this here? July 30th, I accept. Dustin Poirier targets 170-pound showdown with Colby Covington. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
wow, he changed his mind.
Yeah. So, or does he know that because Colby's going through all this other stuff with Masvidal and, getting sucker punched, is he knowing it's not going to happen? So he's just getting his name out there.
So did Colby
I don't think he's
say
responded.
It first?
Well, back in the,
back in the
months ago.
So this is a whole string of someone, whoever this guy is, Like I Care. What a great name. Like I Care got Colby to bite, or got Dustin to bite. Yeah. And he said, fight Colby. And he said, July 30th, I accept. Yeah. Okay.
And I haven't seen Colby respond, but I would love to see that fight.
Yeah, but what I was getting to was you're friends with Colby, and so you know what happened when Jorge Masvidal sucker punched Colby. He was hurt.
Yeah. He wasn't prepared for the punch. So obviously
clearly
it was different than in a fight. But it seems like I haven't talked to him recently, but he had a couple of videos leading up to, I think, 274, he had he's back to his old form. I don't know if it's 274, but who was he talking about? Oh, Oliveira and Justin. And so he had some where he's back talking shit, saying, here's his bookie line, whatever, doing all this. And he seemed back on his game,
Yeah.
mentally. Same as normal. So hopefully he's okay.
The thing about getting hit in the head is like you can do that for like a video.
Mm-hmm.
You could do, but are you compromised? Like, are you a changed person?
Right.
Because a knockout can change a person.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he got knocked out by that punch.
I don't think he did.
But he got his tooth broken.
Yeah.
And he got
Caught off guard.
Caught off guard and completely not knowing he was going to get hit, cracked in the face by a guy who's a world-class fighter.
Yeah. That's not good.
And then he's going to press charges on Masvidal.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I
know.
I wonder what happens there because that's clearly assault.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just assault. It's assault in a situation where you just had a 5-round fight with a guy.
I know.
And lost handily.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decided, I'm going to get my licks in when no one's watching. So a lot of people are angry that calling it cowardly.
Yeah. To me, it'd be different. I guess it's a thing. Sucker punching is like you got to be ready at all times.
When you're eating dinner? You got
I
to be
don't
ready
know.
when you're at a steakhouse?
To me, it's different doing that as opposed to, seeing them come out and be like, hey, I'm right here.
Right.
You said said on site, let's do it.
Right.
That's different because it wasn't on site. It's like if you're coming from behind them, how's it on site?
Right.
I have a hard time respecting that. If they want to fight in the streets, because they hate each other, whatever. But hey, here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Masvidal's like, he crossed a line. He talked about his family, and he's like, I don't give a fuck. He goes, I'm going to crack you.
Yeah, yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that feel that way, and that's why Dustin Poirier, for the longest time, was saying that he wouldn't fight Colby. It's like it's how Colby gets under your skin. He crosses those lines.
Yeah.
And that is part of the strategy of him getting you mentally worked up.
Yeah.
And completely overwhelmed.
And it works.
It works on everybody but Usman.
Yeah. Well, and they say you cross a line, and he's saying, I don't see a line.
Yeah.
There is no line.
Yeah. He's like, the line is, this is my career. I have one run at this, and I'm going to make as much money and as much noise as I can. And look, the reality is, he's the second best welterweight on planet Earth, in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, until Hamzat gets to that level,
right
now he's the second best welterweight on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And what he did with Usman in 2 fights is, at least the second fight, made it to the final buzzer, got rocked, like put on a hell of a fight. It was a very good fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight.
Very, very good fight in the second fight. It's like, he's just in the era of one of the greatest of all time. And it doesn't mean that he can't one day reach that level.
No.
He's still young.
It's the most competitive fights I've ever seen Usman in.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because Usman look what he did to Masvidal.
Yeah.
He sent him to the dark lands.
Yeah.
Just sent him to the shadow realm.
And then did you see Usman at the last fight with his red leather jacket, no shirt? It's like, baller. Frick.
Well, he's like, that if you want to make some noise and get some attention.
That's how you do it.
Well, he's trying to get that Canelo fight.
I know.
He wants that big money. And maybe Canelo will fight him.
Just keep him on salads.
Fight.
Keep him on salads. He's got a pretty good shot.
Keep him on salads.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll change his diet. Because they were actually talking about that in the broadcast. They were saying he seems a little lackadaisical, a little lackluster. I wonder if it's his diet.
I don't know.
Yeah, after the fight, they were talking about the diet. It's like, I don't know,
I know.
It's like I never want to say that it won't work for you. Because there's people out there that I know that are vegan that thrive. And they don't have any problem with it. But I don't know how they would do if they ate meat. I mean, maybe they're just fucking unbelievably savage, and if they ate meat, they'd be even better. But if you give them vegetables, they still kill it.
His quote on it says that sometimes he eats meat still.
Oh, I'm not very complicated when it comes to food. I adapt a lot. I adapt quickly. Canelo told ESPN, it's not something I did all of a sudden, that I left what I ate before from one day to the next. All week, I try to eat what is vegan, and if one day I eat something else, meat, chicken, whatever, I eat it. There is no problem.
Yeah, I don't know what that means really, but that's what he said in response.
But that's not, if you are an athlete that is eating for performance. Like, say if you went to...
See, that's the opposite of me.
Yeah, if you went to a Mike
Dolce
Dolce or George Lockhart or one of those guys, that is not how they would tell you to eat. They would prescribe a specific amount of protein, specific amount of carbohydrates based on your weight.
Right.
I mean, they're not saying like sometimes I eat this and sometimes I eat that. I think what's going on is Canelo is so fucking good.
Yeah.
That he can get away with eating squash and tomatoes and still fuck you up because he's so goddamn good.
He's been amazing.
He's amazing. And just the fact that he went all the way up to 75, fought Bivol, went to the decision, lost the decision, but was never in like real trouble.
Yeah.
Was never like rocked or dropped or anything like that. And he's fighting
impressive.
2 weight classes above his natural weight class. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. He's an amazing fighter.
He's amazing. He's one of the greatest of all time, which is why he's willing to take that chance and go up to 175 pounds. But in my mind, if you're an athlete, especially if you're in a combat sport, you need to have everything dialed in. Your recovery. You need to be doing the sauna every day, ice bath. You need to be eating all the right food, drinking all the right water. They should hydration test you every day. You got hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. That's Canelo Alvarez.
I know.
He shouldn't be eating fucking plants. What the fuck are you doing, bro? You're eating celery? We got to get a steak in you.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying is like his approach where he'll eat, greens and salads most of the time and every once in a while have meat. I do all meat and every once in a while have a salad.
When Mike Tyson was in here, he was thanking me for turning him on to Wild Game.
Really?
Yes.
He's been getting wild game?
Yes.
From
Well,
buying
I offered to get him some elk, but I never got it to him. We never connected after that.
okay.
But he went to somewhere and got a lot of bison. He got he was eating a lot of bison before he started training again. He's like, oh my God, it made such a difference. He thanked me during the last podcast for turning on because I'm always talking about wild game.
Yeah.
Meat. And he's like, it made a big difference. That's what I eat now is wild game. So if Mike Tyson says that, I'd fucking listen.
Yeah, no
If
kidding.
Mike Tyson at 55 years of age who looks that damn good, which is incredible.
I'm addicted to still his old footage of his fights and the one where he's in the ring and he's talking about,
I'm Alexander the Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat your children.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I think he ends it with praise be to Allah.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Dude, in his prime, he was like no one else. He changed boxing.
I still watch. I watch him just like I've never seen him. Seen him 1,000 times.
I watched the Botha fight the other day. I watched it the other day. He knocked Botha out. I watched that fight, and then after I watched that fight, I watched the who's the fucking Polish dude that he fucked up? Galata, Andrew Galata. Yeah, I watched that fight too.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, he was good.
Yeah. So much
He
power.
was so good.
Yeah.
It wasn't just power, man. It was bobbing and weaving and inside on you. It was
His head would go so low sometimes when he'd go down.
Yeah. He's like at knee level. And guys are like trying to hit him. And then he leaps up and smashes you with a left hook.
God.
During his time, man, when we were kids,
Yeah.
you and I are the same age, and when Tyson was at that run, when he was the heavyweight champion in the beginning, it was when he knocked out Ferguson and he won the title, youngest heavyweight champion ever at 20 years of age, and then just smashed everybody.
Yeah.
Every fight was like, you weren't doing anything when Mike Tyson fought. You were going to watch Mike Tyson fights.
Yeah, it was a weird where you wanted to see him fight, but then you also wanted it like some devastating knockout in the first round.
Yeah.
It's like, so how can you have both? How can you see a great fight where you get to see him for maybe a half hour if it's 10 rounds?
Right.
Or something just,
Yeah.
is really hard to pick which one.
Well, people would not buy the pay-per-view because they didn't want to spend money on a 30-second fight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to buy that pay-per-view. I'm like, listen, man, it's going to be wild. They're going to play it back 30 times in a row.
You can be jumping
Watch it.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Spinks fight when he fought Michael Spinks.
Yeah.
God, he was good. It was just, but athletes of that level, when you're at that level, I mean, it's like, I feel like with Mike Tyson, obviously he was a heavyweight, and the diet is not, it's not a concern in terms of like making a specific weight. He just wanted to be at his prime. But Mike Tyson always ate meat. He always ate meat. But he didn't eat like wild game until, after his career was over, then he started coming back again.
Could you imagine if in his prime, wild game?
Oh my God. That would be probably a big talking point in the broadcast, like what he ate.
How
If
sick
he was
would
just
that
smashing
be?
people, eating only like elk meat.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome.
He probably would have been better, which is so scary.
Yeah.
He was like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Of like a young kid who was raised in a horrible environment, had no love. It was just terrible, terrible until he was adopted by a real wizard in Customato.
Yeah.
I mean, Customato was a genius when it came to boxing and also a hypnotist. So he takes this guy who the fuck is 13 years old and weighs 190 pounds?
Yeah.
Mike
Freak.
Tyson. Yeah.
Just a
So
freak.
freak genetics and then also freak mind. You know, people don't appreciate how intelligent Tyson is. I mean, he doesn't have a PhD. He didn't spend a lot of time in college, but that doesn't mean his mind doesn't function at a very high level. In order to be able to navigate the waters of being in a fight with Larry Holmes and be able to figure out how to get to Larry Holmes' chin and boom, that is fucking complicated. It's
Yeah.
way more complicated than people think it is.
Right.
And it's also all the other stuff that he was into. Like he's into like history and conquerors. Like he could talk to you forever about like Genghis Khan and all these warriors that lived before. He studied all that stuff. He's not a simple man. He's very complex.
Don't you think that also went into his mindset? Like
Yeah.
studying that
Yeah,
and those
yeah.
people and knowing what it meant to be like a great warrior or fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he took that with him in the ring in some
For
ways.
sure. And also, it was a singular focus. That's all he did.
Yeah.
All he did when he lived in the Catskills, which is like, there's nothing to do up there. So all he would do is like
Train.
watch fight tapes when he wasn't training, eat and sleep.
Yeah. Now, when you're tunnel visioned on something, and you
Yeah.
got that talent and then that mindset,
Yeah.
it's just so rare.
It's so rare, and there's not a lot of people that can keep it up. I mean, he kept it up for years, and eventually he lost the desire and the hunger, and then he wound up retiring after like the Kevin McBride fight. But it's just, I think you got to look at him for when he was at his peak.
Yeah.
People always look at guys like what happened when they kind of fell off, and they start. Like I talked with BJ Penn about that when he was on the podcast. And I'm like, you can't look at the bad performances. They had bad performances later in their career like BJ did. But if you look at BJ Penn when he was in his prime, my God.
Oh, yeah.
My God, he was incredible.
Yeah.
When he was in his
Definitely.
prime, BJ Penn was one of the greatest of all time.
Well, the Prodigy?
Yeah.
Well, how do you get that name?
That's how he got it.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're incredible. So,
I was there. I was there for the early BJ days. He was something nuts.
Yeah.
And he just had this psychotic focus, you know, and he would come out to that song Crazy. That made me crazy. You know, and he'd come out and just like this look on his face, and he'd be pacing in the corner, and it was hell. The moment that bell rang, like he was bringing hell.
Yeah.
He was amazing. But again, it's like, how long can you do that?
Right.
Most people can't do that for very long. Your body breaks, your willpower breaks. Like just to maintain the kind of camp that you have to be in the kind of condition that you have to be able to fight 5 rounds. So that's why, like when it comes to a guy like Kamaru Usman, when he says he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, and I'm like, give him the money, give him the fight, because it's like if Canelo wants to do it and he wants to do it, and people are like, well, that won't be competitive. I'm like, let's see.
Yeah.
But my point is like, first of all, who knows? Because he's that good at MMA.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what he could put
Right.
together if he only boxed? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it's a special kind of athlete that can be that good at anything, as good as he is at MMA. I'm not saying he's at Canelo's level boxing. I'm not. He's not. Canelo's the best in the world, maybe one of the best of all time. But let's fucking watch that.
It's the same logic as with Tyson Fury and
And Francis Ngannou.
yeah. I mean, same allure to that.
Yeah, but they're doing that with little gloves.
Oh, 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah, they're gonna fight with bare, little MMA gloves.
But boxing.
Yes, it's a hybrid type fight. They're gonna fight with little gloves, boxing.
How much damage is that going to cause them? I mean,
It's all whether or not Francis can get close to Tyson and land shots.
Right.
Because
Got
Tyson
that-
Fury is so
that
good.
reach. And he's
So
so
good.
skilled at boxing.
He's also got this style, this fucking herky jerky style, and
Right.
if you're not used to that, you're like, hey, what
He moves
the
like
hell?
a little guy.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, he's so smooth for as big as he is.
6'9". 6'9".
That's a big man.
He's amazing.
That's a big man.
And he did something very clever after the Dillian White fight. He said he's retiring. So he's going to give up all his belts.
Oh.
So if he fights Francis Ngannou,
Yeah.
he's not fighting for any belt. So
Right.
he doesn't have to give any of those sanctioning bodies any money.
Oh, ooh, that's
Yes, that's what he
smart.
did. See, this is them together. And he also asked Francis if he had a giant cock. which is I'll answer that. Look at him. even if he's got a regular cock for his size body.
I didn't know he was that tall, Francis.
Well, he doesn't have.
okay.
Tyson has no shoes on, or no, he has boxing shoes on, which are very
flat.
thin.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Francis is wearing, but Francis is a good solid 6'6".
God,
isn't he? How tall is Francis? 6'5", 6'6".
I don't know. He looks big.
But Francis is, he's walking around 275 natural.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an enormous man. 6'4", it says.
Yeah, see, he looks bigger.
He does look bigger.
Tyson was 6'9".
Maybe he lied about his size just to...
Yeah.
6'4". Maybe he's like 6'6".
I know. He looks giant.
He's a terrifying man. He's terrifying.
Have you had him on here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God. He has the best story ever. His story about leaving Cameroon, escaping Cameroon and getting to France, he told that story, and it was a long story. Like,
right.
He goes into detail about it. It's nail-biting. Like, you can't, like, what he did, they arrested him 7 times as he was trying to make his way over to Europe.
Right,
and every time they'd arrest him, they'd take him to the desert and drop him off.
That's right, yeah.
Like literally leave him there to die.
I knew of his story. I couldn't remember where I'd heard it or why I knew, but that's right.
And every time he made it back, tried again. Every time he made it back and tried again. So when that guy enters into the octagon, there's a determination that guy possesses that.
Yeah, he's overcome.
He's overcome everything. He's overcome everything.
You know, where a fight is just, that's a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
He's, had to fight for his life, basically.
Well, the crazy thing is he fought Cyril Gahn with a completely blown out knee.
Yeah.
His knee was fucked going into that fight.
And he wasn't going to cancel the fight.
Against one of the most difficult challengers he's ever faced. Mm-hmm. Cyril Gahn is a guy who, first of all, sparred with him, so he knew him really well. He was an enormous guy. Cyril Gahn is also 6'4",
athletic,
super athletic, very quick for a heavyweight, and very technical in his striking. His striking is very skillful.
Yeah.
And Francis just switched it up on him and used his wrestling, took him down, beat him up.
He did.
Maintained the title. It was impressive stuff, man. And the thing about him is there's not a lot of compelling fights for him in the heavyweight division of the UFC.
Right.
Where you want to say, like, ooh, I can't wait to see that fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who's the big fight that stands out for Francis Ngannou in the UFC's heavyweight division?
Yeah.
John Jones.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah, if he comes back.
There is a lot of talk of John coming back against Stipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious to see if that actually comes to fruition.
Me too.
Is there any announcement of that? There isn't an announcement, right?
No.
They're talking about
September, I thought. Didn't I hear that? Like Stipe wasn't going to be ready till September.
I wonder why. I wonder why he needs till September. I mean, it's May. I wonder why he needs 4 months. Because he hasn't fought in forever.
I know. Yeah, it's been a while.
I wonder what that is. Maybe he's recovering from an injury or something like that.
Or he just wants to be, sometimes it's like, when am I going to be at my best?
Yeah.
Maybe he wants a longer camp, knowing he's going to fight John Jones.
There was also talk of Stipe fighting Tai Tuivasa. I don't know if that was real. I think they do have another fight now for Tai Tuivasa, though. Who is, boy, you want to talk about a character.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's
beer out of your shoe.
Yeah, that's turned into a thing now. I see other fighters doing it.
He tried to drink beer out of my shoe.
Did he?
When I was interviewing him after the fight, he goes, "Joe, can I drink beer out of your shoe?" I'm like, "No, that's disgusting. I'm gonna put that back on.
Wet shoe on.
Fuck out of here, bro." I'm not gonna. But I love him. I love him to death.
Yeah, his
amazing.
attitude's infectious for sure.
Also his skill level has increased like by leaps and bounds, and the fact that he took out Derek Lewis like that.
I know, in Houston.
And Derek Lewis is the biggest power puncher in the history of the heavyweight division. He's knocked out more guys than anyone in the history of the heavyweight division.
And he rocked him.
Mm-hmm.
He did, and he took it.
Had him in real trouble.
Yeah.
And Ty came back swinging. That's pretty amazing. Is there a fight scheduled for him?
I just looked him up. I'm not seeing anything.
I think they had something that they were talking about. It might be Rosenstrike, which is
Cyril Gahn.
Cyril Gahn.
That's September 3rd.
Ooh. So, if they're smart, that's what they do. Well, it's like Francis just had major knee surgery, right? So he had ligaments reconstructed, and that was just about a month and a half, 2 months ago. that shit takes 9+ months
Yeah.
to really heal up. And then if he really wants to give it the right amount of time, he needs another 3 after that to like work his way back into shape and get to the point where he can fight again.
Who, Francis, you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he wants to box, I think. Doesn't he want to let his contract run out and box or what?
Well, the UFC might go in on it. With
Oh, I
him.
see.
You know, I think the UFC, first of all, he's immensely marketable as a heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
He's an incredible fighter.
Yeah.
If they're smart, and they are, I think they'll make a Conor McGregor type deal with him.
Okay.
Where, you know, they co-promoted the Conor McGregor's
They
Floyd
should.
Mayweather fight. So they'll probably co-promote this and then make something with him and
In Africa.
Fury. Oh
What
my
are you
God.
doing?
Oh my God.
What
know
are you
how crazy
doing?
That would be? You know how
Yeah,
crazy that
sign
would be?
him, put him in Africa. A huge fight.
What if they both get malaria?
I don't know. But it'd be a hell of a fight because they'd be equal then if they both had malaria.
Like, if they did fight in Africa, I wonder where they would do it. I wonder if they would do it like Rumble in the Jungle, right
I know.
where Ali fought.
Yeah, I
Where he
mean,
fought
something
Foreman.
of their. It would be insane. They could probably get 1 million people there.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to do that.
yeah. That
Right?
would be incredible. If he fought in Cameroon has a venue.
Probably not.
It's not just that. It was also like you have to have a fighter hotel where all the fighters can
Yeah.
stay, and you'd have to have world-class facilities for them
No,
to train at.
I don't know. I mean, South Africa's, they probably have that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do in South Africa.
Cape Town.
Yeah,
So
but I would want to do it where Francis is from.
yeah, that'd be ideal.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that environment.
Yeah, they might
Yeah.
want to build a hotel for that.
Yeah. So you know how the Olympics they go in and they rebuild
Yeah.
the whole city.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'd have to do it. It would be the biggest spectacle.
It would be a crazy fight.
Yeah, he deserves it.
He does. They
Shit,
both deserve it.
what he came, how to get out of there and what he's made of his
amazing.
life.
It's amazing.
I mean, he should have wrote a chapter in Endure.
He's going to write his own book, I'm sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
That story that he told on my podcast was insane, and I'm sure there's many, many layers to that story. I'm
Yeah.
sure he has many stories that he just couldn't get into because he's trying to just get to the point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine going through that. Every day, what he thought about or what the mindset was.
The thing is, like, he got through, and he's so nice. Like, when you're around Francis, he's so gentle and nice. He's like
Yeah.
such a friendly guy. He's always smiling, and he's really nice. And
Yeah.
until you get locked in that cage with him.
God. Yeah. See, he's different because like at Mike Tyson, I never heard anybody say how nice he was.
No, it's just intimidation.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Just scary. Yeah. Even you sitting across the table, I remember you said that like a few years ago when he was on here.
I changed the size of my table because of him.
Yeah, it was a little too close.
Yeah. Well, what happened was we had the same size table, but I was thinking about making the table smaller.
Oh.
And then after doing the podcast with him, I was like, I don't want to be closer to him. I'm scared. But that's when he was getting ramped up to fight Roy Jones. It was funny
Yeah.
because after he left, I turned to Jamie, and Jamie was like, that's a totally different person. Because we had him on, what was it, like 10 months prior to that? And he was a super mellow stoner.
Yeah.
Because he'd been smoking a lot of weed. He wasn't even working out.
Right.
And I asked him, I go, why do you not work out? And he goes, I don't want to reignite my ego. That's what he
Jeez,
said. And
really?
man, was that prophetic.
Yeah, because then he did.
Well, you got to imagine there's memories in that man's brain of just being the ultimate conqueror.
Yeah.
How
Competition is hard to walk away from anyway,
yeah.
let alone if you're Mike Tyson.
And it's also like when he would hit those pads, you could see him like recreating it in his mind. Like thinking about like what it was like when he was at his best.
Yeah, he did that on the plane with that kid that was bugging him.
They're not pressing charges. That's one good thing about Los Angeles lacks, district attorney,
Yeah.
the way they're handling violence. Like,
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, whatever.
fuck that guy.
Well, and obviously he deserved it. You could
He
watch a
deserved
So
it.
they're saving the taxpayers a lot of money.
Yeah, and the guy was he had a lengthy criminal history.
Yeah.
Not a good guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The guy was a criminal.
The
guy was in and out of jail.
Dirtbag and irritating.
Dirtbag, irritating jailbird who was drunk. And
Not a good combination.
fate put him on that flight right behind Mike Tyson. That's what happened. Fate wanted him to get fucking mollywopped in front of the whole world. And Tyson just hit him a few times.
I know.
Kind of gentle.
He did, yeah. But
If
it
he
would have
really-
been scary as hell to have Tyson leaning over his seat, punching you.
I know. Imagine.
God.
If Tyson wanted to, he would have got out of his seat and come over to him, and then the guy would have been fucked.
I'm surprised he didn't grab him by his neck and haul him over.
Yeah, right? Just ugh. Can you imagine if Mike Tyson beat a guy to death on a plane?
Oh, you almost saw it. Could
Can you
happen.
imagine? Oh, my God. Plus, he was on mushrooms, I think.
Oh.
He was definitely high as fuck. He was coming from some crazy cannabis event.
And then, he went somewhere like Florida. I thought he was going there or maybe coming from. But yeah. I remember I read that.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to these fighter stories. And
I know. Well,
love
it's like there's something to all these things that's connected, whether it's to you when you do these 240-mile runs, when you do these races, or when you prepare for mountain hunting. It's like there's something to all those things that's attractive to people, and that's one of the cool things about the title of your book, Endure, because it's a perfect title for what you stand for and what's so interesting about this, because everybody knows how hard it is to endure. It's really hard to push. Like when you're tired and it's like these little creeping thoughts in your head of like, just quit now. Just take a break. Let's just get some water. Let's take a shit. Let's do something.
Yeah.
And you got to say no, but you don't just got to say no now. You have to say no 3 seconds from now. You have to say no an hour from now.
Right.
You have to say no and keep saying no over and over again. And then you have to do it every day for your whole life.
Yeah.
That's the secret to the Cam Hanes story, is that
Yeah.
you just figured out a way. I don't know what it is, but you figured out a way to push hard every day, no matter what.
Right. And that, I mean, the whole point to the book, I didn't have this big dream to write a book. Esther, my book agent, she heard the story and knew of me and thought that, we could get this out there. And I'm just like kind of a willing participant, but I wasn't seeking it out. But the whole point to it is just to show people what is possible. Because I always say, if I did it, anybody can do it. But it takes that, like what you said, that enduring every day. And there's going to be things that come up. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be people, your life is going to feel terrible. You're going to feel like you're alone. All this. But you keep working, keep pushing.
Yeah.
And anybody can make it out.
That's what's so hard about it, though, is that it never ends. And the thing that's so interesting about people like yourself that do these ultra marathon races and that run so often and put in so many miles is that no one wants to do that. Like, I don't even think you want to do it. You do it because you know it has to be done. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you there's times where you don't want to do it.
There's how much
of the time when you run do you not want to run?
I don't know. It depends on the day, because as you said, we're the same age, so I'm banged up. So there's some days where every mile, a half mile is hard and it hurts, and I'm like, this is terrible. Then there's those special days where everything's clicking, and I'm running free, and I'm running to the mountain. I can see the mountain across town that I run to. I can see it's kind of flat where I live, but the mountain rises up, and I can see it, and I'm like, that's where I'm going. That's my goal. And it's like, it's almost this microcosm of life. It's like, well, what's your goal? And so my goal has to always been just to keep pushing, and this bow hunting thing has always driven me, and to be something I could be proud of. And so that's been what I've been running towards. And so days like that, it's like, this is what I was born to do.
Well, you have a mindset. It's like you're a very even guy. Like, you're even keeled. I don't think I've ever seen you yell. Mm-hmm. I've known you for 8 years.
Don't talk to my kids.
But you're very even keeled. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's also this mindset, this part of your personality is also a part of the grind. Like, don't get too down, don't get too up, keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
That's true. And that's what I tell people all the time. People get their hopes up for things. I have. The people would tell me, like, I don't know, I have millions of stories about, oh, this is going to happen. Even with this book, oh, you're going to make New York Times bestseller. And to me, I'm just like, I doubt it. So I doubt that that's going to happen because I've been through life so many times where I've been so disappointed and I got my hopes so far up. Remember my first book, this book, I printed out 5,000 copies, went into debt, didn't have any money, $50,000 I had to spend, and I had probably, a couple hundred of my own. So I borrowed it from everybody. And somebody said, well, oh, we're going to order 3,000 books. And I'm in my head, I'm like, 3,000 books. Let's see, $20 a piece, whatever, 600. I'm making all this money. And then they said, oh, no. Actually, we don't need that many. How about just send us a couple cases? A couple cases from 3,000? I mean, and so I had been I was like, I made it. I did it. And then it's like, no, actually, no, you didn't do anything. And so I had those books for years, moved them. We moved houses, and I had to move cases of books out of this spare bedroom. And so from lessons like that, these sponsors would tell me, oh, we're going to take you to Africa. You want to do this, and this. Never happened. Never came through. Never. So it's like now I'm just like, no. I mean, my life from this decision isn't going to be over. My life isn't going to change and it's going to be great. It's probably just going to be somewhere in the middle. And in the middle, I'm just going to have to keep working.
Is it better? Is it better that you had to be let down because you never lost your discipline? Like, even though the excitement of like these big moments didn't happen, you kept hammering, you kept grinding, and then ultimately did reach incredible levels of success. But it's through this constant, repetitive work ethic and enduring. Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. I still don't feel like I have the answer. I mean, yeah, I wrote a book. So I told my story. Everybody has their story, and a lot of people think that their story is worthy of a book, probably.
Yeah.
I told my story because I just want, if somebody was like me, their dad wasn't around, their alcoholism in their family, they feel no confidence. I didn't have anything going for me. So there's people out there like that. There's probably a lot of people like that. And so just to give them hope, that's what the book's for. Just to give the regular guy hope.
Is that something, because you do have a lot of fans and you have a lot of interaction with fans online, and there's a lot of people because a lot of times people tag me and stuff that they send to you. Does that motivate you, knowing that these people look up to you and that they admire your discipline, and it gives them inspiration? Because it's one of the things that I think is very interesting about the internet. There's never been, there's a lot of negative things about the internet, but the positives, in my opinion, greatly outweigh the negatives. And one of the real positives is just the overall mountain of inspiration that's available to people right now. There's so many. There's Goggins, and there's Jocko, and there's you, and then there's all these video clips that people put together, and on any given day you could see something that gets you fired up, and you want to do better. You want to get your life together better. Are you aware of the impact that you have on other people, and is that something that motivates you?
No, I mean, I don't know what the impact is, but what motivates me is to not let people down, not let myself down, not let people down that I know people do look up to me. It's hard to figure out why, because I still, like I said, I still have the 9-to-5 job.
But that's part of the reason why they like you.
I still do all the normal things. But I mentioned this the other day on a post, because I posted back your original tweet to me in 2014. And, this is and what that was, there's an example on how social media can work, and it can give somebody, and I think I wrote in there that, I was a guy with my head down, looking at the ground, no reason really to raise up and have dreams. I was just, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to work here, and I'm going to work in the woods in this small logging community, and this is my life. And then things happen, and then all of a sudden your gaze goes up, and now you're on the horizon, and you're like, because before, my world, I lived 20 miles outside of Springfield, Eugene and Springfield, and a big trip would be like, hey, you want to head to town? So my world was 20 miles. It was from my small town to town, which is where a movie theater was, and so my world was 20 miles big. And then then you start looking up, and you're like, well, man, how about the mountains way over in Eastern Oregon, Eagle Cap Wilderness? That's more than 20 miles. That's a whole nother world. And then you send a tweet like that and you say, hey, do you want to come to LA? And you want to talk about bow hunting and fitness. And I'm like, man, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And then all of a sudden now you're looking at the mountaintops and you're like, I wonder what life is up there on top of that mountain. And that's how it starts. But it starts with this person who has no reason really to dream, no reason to be confident or to have anything excited about anything. And you're just kind of walking with your head down. And then through these little changes in this attitude, one person believing in you, one person doubting you, maybe that gives you fuel. And then all of a sudden that gaze starts raising. And then now you have the biggest dreams in the world. And through some weird endeavor like bow hunting from small town guy, I've been able to meet you, athletes, train with people on how I can be a better bow hunter from a logging town. And it's like I train with Olympians. And it's like, but it all starts with that small little journey.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's what I say. If I did it, who couldn't do it? Everybody could.
Yeah, everybody can. It's not like you're born a prince and they gave you a golden bow and gave you like private archery lessons from the best coaches in the world. No, you figured it out on your own.
I was, okay, so I mean, you mentioned private archery lessons. I was friends with Roy Roth, who was still the toughest man I've ever met, great in the mountains, learned so much from him. And then Wayne, who owns a bow rack, he, amazing archer. These were my friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, I got lucky. I was just in San Diego yesterday, did Jocko's podcast, and I was down there running on the beach. And I was thinking, what if I lived here? What would I be? Well, there's no Roy, there's no Wayne, there's no the bow rack. Who would I have been?
It's an interesting question, right?
I saw this kid, and he was fishing, and he's fishing in the ocean there, just by himself. And I was thinking, well, I wonder if, maybe he's going to be something. Maybe that's his thing. And
Yeah.
Maybe because of that thing that he's doing by himself I think this was a Saturday, fishing by himself. Maybe he has this big dream, and maybe that's going to lead to something. But
isn't it also interesting that we think of someone becoming something, whereas what they're doing, more people know about it. When more people know about what you're doing, then you're something.
yeah,
And that's weird, right? So it's a weird thing. It's like accomplishing something is amazing, but we want not only to accomplish something, but to be recognized by and have an impact on people. It's a significant part of why both of us do what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, if I did this podcast and nobody enjoyed it, I don't know if I'd keep doing it.
Right.
I think the only reason why I do it is that people like it, and they give me money, obviously. but
Yeah.
the reason why they give me money is because people like it.
Yeah.
That's the real motivation, is that I enjoy doing it, and then I also know that a lot of people respond to it and they like it. A lot of people listen. So if you're doing your thing, whether it's bow hunting or that kid who's fishing, what if a lot of people were watching that kid fishing? What if that kid is like this really motivational, inspirational fisherman? It sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but it also sounds crazy to be a motivational, inspirational bow hunter.
It
And
does,
You've
yeah.
figured that out.
right.
So it's like, it's like human endeavors, whatever they are, like the human spirit, the whatever is in a person that makes them exceptional is expressed through so many different mediums. It could be expressed through swimming. It could be expressed through painting, whatever you're doing.
Poetry.
Anything, whatever
Yeah,
you're doing.
yeah.
But that thing we're trying to do is we're trying to affect people in a positive way. We're trying to get people excited. We're trying to there's a thing that you get rewarded for, and that reward is to make people's lives better. And sometimes you can make people's lives better just through your own personal effort, just through hard work and being an example. And that example fires people up and they get excited. And some people get mad at you and and I know you respond to that and you get mad at haters. But the reason why you have haters is because people are upset that you're getting attention and they feel like, oh, he's taking attention away from me. It's
Yeah.
just a weak-minded perspective, but it's super, super common.
Well, you're as much as anybody. Hunting and making it in the quote industry is very competitive, and then men have egos. It's one of the biggest weaknesses we have is our ego, I think. And so my attitude was, well, I need to win, and if this guy's winning, he's taking from me, And so you were the one who kind of pulled the curtains back on that, and that's what I wrote about in the book, is that, I can't remember how you said it, but you said there's enough cake for everyone. And it was like, I had never thought that, well, if I win, they can win too, or if they win, I can win also. I thought about it as one or the other. And it's not.
Most people think like that.
Right. It's not. That's not the case.
It's a famine mentality, and it's bad for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's bad for the person that thinks that way more than anybody. It's way worse for them than even the person they hate on. When someone hates on you, it gives you energy. Like Goggins loves it. He loves it. I wish those motherfuckers would hate on me every day.
Yeah.
I read that bullshit.
Yeah. He says he records them and then listens back. Listens back, and he loves it.
He's a different man.
Yeah,
he is a different kind of man.
I love that mentality though, because that's what social media has shared, that mentality. Which, how would you know about that mentality? Like where I grew up is a 1A, or we were 2A when I was there, but a small school, 100 kids. Where are you gonna be exposed to somebody with that mentality?
Right, you're not.
You're not.
You're not.
So if you make it out, it was just like kind of luck, kind of. Who knows what happened? You got a twist of fate works your way. Now there's guys, and that's where social media, it's like you can talk all the shit you want about it. It's an amazing tool to enhance lives if that's what you're looking for.
It's also an amazing, it exposes personality. It exposes the way human psychology works. And that's where the whole hater thing comes into perspective, because so many haters, the reason why they hate is so illogical, but it's really just when they feel bad because of other people's success. Yeah. Whether it's an athlete's success or a musician or an entertainer, whatever it is that bothers them, it's they feel bad because they haven't reached the same level of success this other person has, and they feel like it's unattainable, so they want to chop that person down in some way to make the world fair. What they don't understand is that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help you. And if you're hating Goggins, it actually helps him, which is bad. But for most people, it just makes them feel uncomfortable, and then they just don't want to listen to you anymore. Right. But it doesn't stop them from getting, and also it doesn't convince other people that you're correct. You just seem like a bitch. Yeah. When you have all this hyperbole that you attach to, you exaggerate how bad a person is, everyone knows why you're doing it. Right. When they look at you and your life's a fucking disaster and you're hating on someone that's super successful, everybody knows but you. Yeah. You think you're tricking people. You think you're so virtuous and so amazing, and even though you haven't achieved any fucking success at all, you want to shit on this person, and somehow or another it's going to knock that person. You don't like them because they're killing it. Right. That's what it is. Everyone knows but you. Even your fucking wife knows. Yeah. You come home and bitch about some guy who's playing in the NFL. You don't think your wife knows?
And don't you
everybody knows.
And they should know, right? When they look in the mirror, they got to know.
But they haven't been taught. That's what it is. You have to be taught. And you have to look. I came from a martial arts background, and when you come from a martial arts background, you must look at things for what they are, or you get hurt. You get hurt. You can't lie and pretend you're good, because then your dumbass will take a fight with someone who'll fuck you up, and you'll think you're going to win. Right. And you should know. Right. You should know. And you got to be able to objectively analyze your skills. You have to have confidence, but you also have to have objectivity. You have to look at what you can and can't do and know that you haven't gotten there yet. Maybe you will get to that level someday, but right now you're not there. And when you see someone that's really good, you got to be inspired by them. Instead of hating on them and saying, oh, he's nothing, I'm going to fuck him up. There's a lot of people that think like that. Yeah, and those people wind up getting taken out on stretchers. Yeah. Because they are delusional. They look at the world the wrong way. If they looked at it the right way, they would look at it like Mike Tyson used to do when he was watching those old films of Jack Johnson and Jack Dempsey and of Harry Greb, and watching those world-class fighters from the fucking 30s and the 40s and shit, watching Willie Pep films. He did all that. He didn't look at them and go, fuck those guys. No, he would talk about them.
He wouldn't say I'm better.
He would talk about them with reverence. He would talk about Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano. He would talk about them with reverence. Yeah. About how amazing they were. And that is what made him great, is that he part of what it is, I mean, obviously besides all the other great things, is that he concentrated on excellence. And instead of like hating, like many people do, like in this amazing world that Mike Tyson lived in, he had this guy named Jim Jacobs, who was his manager, who collected boxing films. So he had one of those old, like, one of those old projection things, and he would sit and watch these old-timey fights that this guy had, like, stacks and stacks of. So it was like this amazing environment for him to just take in inspiration, learn and be inspired.
It's respecting history.
Yes.
It's, the inspiration. It's
fuel.
Yeah.
And that's what the internet gives you. On top of the haters, there's going to be haters because it's a part of, it's a natural path of thinking. It's a natural human personality path. But beside that, what's also available is if you look at it the right way, everyone becomes fuel. Kind people, nice people become an inspiration. You go, God, I want to be nice like that guy.
Yeah.
I wish I was nice like that guy.
Right.
And then you like learn how to be like kinder. Like when I'm around that person, they're always smiling. I feel better.
Yeah.
God, I got to do that more. I got to be nicer to people. It's better. It's better for them. It's better for me.
Right.
And then you can learn. We can all learn from each other that way.
I'm not young, so I wish I would have learned this a long time ago, but I have tried to look at people who are successful, who I look up to. And that's what the book is about, where I have the chapter about where I take from all these people I look up to, everybody respects, but it's like, how can I take what they do and apply it to my own life?
Yes.
And before it was just like, I have to win. I have to beat everybody. I would look for negatives of that person. Well, yeah, I could do that too if all I did was train. I could run that good, And so instead of that attitude, it's just like, no, well, how about this? And then you take the positive part and then you add it to your arsenal, and then you're growing and you're improving and you're appreciating, and gratitude and all these things that makes you, you have to be a complete human.
Yes.
You can't be a negative, looking at the negative of everything, thinking like you've been cheated in life and that's why you're not successful and you should be getting more attention. No, you have to you switch that mindset to gratitude, and then you see everything differently.
Yes. And it's the same experience. You are the same human, the same biological creature that's seeing the same world, but you're looking at it a completely different way, and it empowers you.
Exactly.
Not only that, the person that you, instead of like hating on someone, you actually can appreciate the qualities of them. And if you ever meet them, then you could say, hey man, I just want to tell you, I saw a video that you put out there and it really moved me and I thought it was awesome. Or I saw this, or I remember watching you when I was that, or I saw something that this person did, or I read your book, or I watched your whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
That's what we should all strive for. We should all strive for figuring out how to conquer that little dirty inner bitch, that dirty little bitch that wants to be jealous, that inner like coward that wants to like look at the world in a distorted lens, because it gives your sad little sorry ego comfort to do that.
And I see men, like I said, men, including myself, have that, and I see them and I see them talking like that, and it's like, you can't respect it. When you've seen through a different lens, the lens we're talking about, and then you see that, the exact opposite, you can't respect it.
Well, I just want to get away from them.
Yeah.
When they do that, I'm like, ugh, get out of here.
Right.
Especially me, because like I was that guy when I was young. Mm-hmm. I was that guy.
Well, how'd you change?
I feel like I figured out what was holding me back was bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like if I looked at someone and I thought, oh, they ain't shit, I was like, that's not true. They're fucking awesome. Like, what's wrong with you? And I spent a lot of time by myself thinking, and I spent a lot of time training. One of the things that comes out of training, like really hard training, is that after it's over, there's these revelations. There's these like moments of peace where the training is so hard and you're so exhausted. And a lot of times you're by yourself, and maybe I'd be sitting there stretching or something like that, and I'd be thinking, and I just learned. I just thought about it always, and I was like, this is not true. Like this is not serving me. It's not helping me.
So it wasn't a life coach. It was a self-realization.
I've been coached inadvertently by a lot of things that I saw. I've been coached by other people's failures. I've been coached by other people's successes. I've been coached by my own failures. I've been coached by my own successes. But I also read a lot of books. I like this guy on my arm, Miyamoto Musashi. There's a reason why this is on my arm. It's from the Book of Five Rings.
So a million years ago, when I was an editor for Eastman's Bowhunting Journal, I had a quote you said during a fight from him. You know, if you master one thing, you can see the way in all things, something like that. And I quoted you, and this was like way before we ever met. But that means something to me too, because that also, you said it during a fight once. And that's what I took in my editorial. I wrote that I heard you during a UFC broadcast say that. And it's like, that kind of resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes sense. And then I was at my normal job. And I remember when I first started there, there's this job that came open, the job I did for 20 years as a buyer, and nobody put in for it that was internal, that already worked the company. And so I was the only person who put in. I was on the construction crew and I put in. And I was like, well, how come nobody else is putting in? They're like, oh, we don't want to deal with the office bullshit. I'm like, office bullshit? I mean, what? I was making $7 an hour, now I'm making 18. What bullshit are you talking about? And there was no office bullshit. It was just like, that was just a thing that, you know, there's like the stigma of office bullshit. Nobody put in for the job. So it's like all these little lessons I learned. I heard you say that, my work life. And then I was like, God, maybe all this shit, maybe this isn't real. Maybe what's real. And you said after training, you would have this enlightenment thing. For me, it's been when I'm running. Yeah. And when I'm running, there's nothing else to think about. I'm running, and sometimes like you can run and you can go through all these waves of. Sometimes I'll think about my dad and get kind of sad, or think about Roy and you know, just question stuff. And then sometimes I'm feeling really good, and then, like I said, I'm looking at the mountain and like that's what I'm doing today. And when I get there, I can't wait to get to the top. And I do this little video, and everybody knows the video. Oh, you're on the top of your mountain. And so I'm like, I kind of look forward to sharing that video because I know other people look forward to it. But then so all these different factors come in, and you're like, I've been looking at all this shit the wrong way.
Yeah.
Why have I been putting this negative energy into all this when all I had to do is change my mindset? And that's all that's happened in my life and in the book. And then once you change that, it's just like they say that, you know, the more you give, the more you receive. You know, you get more generous with money. And another thing I learned from you is how generous you are. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to implement that too. I've been rewarded more in life. And it's like, God dang, what is going on?
It's real.
It's 100% real.
Yeah, it's real.
And all we're trying to do is share. It's like, look at this, guys. Look.
Yeah. There's a lot of power in love. And I know that sounds very cliche, but there's power in love. And when you're generous, and when you're kind, and when you're complimentary, and when you're appreciative and you're grateful, that's love. That's like happiness. Negativity should be reserved for the most evil of things that you can come across in life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of negativity that I encounter in life, I always have this reaction. Like I want to hate, I want to be angry. I was a mean fucking kid when I was young, man. When I was fighting, I was mean because that was the only way I thought I could win. I mean, I thought I had to be mean in order to be successful because you're trying to hurt someone. You're in a sport where there's a trained fighter and you're trying to hurt that trained fighter. It took a long time before I knew how to let that go. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that really helped me was appreciating people for the good qualities. And so even when someone like hates on me, there's a part of me that goes, I get it. I know where they're coming from. I bet if I got alone with them, talked to them for a while, I could fucking let them know the real me. And you know, like we were talking today, like sometimes there's whole articles written about shit that I've said on the podcast. Yeah. And then I'll read the article. I'm like, well, I don't even agree with that. I don't even agree with what I said. Like I said it, and it was like I'm talking. But if someone said, yeah, but this, I would have went, yeah, actually, you're right. That's a good point. That sort of cancels out what I'm saying, or that's another perspective that's enhanced. We get so locked into protecting our ego and protecting like our identity and shielding ourselves from like fear and the fear of the unknown and the fear of other people. And the big leaps that I've made in my life have all come from abandoning that. And a lot of it has come from love. A lot of it has come from appreciating people. A lot of it has come from celebrating people. Right. A lot of what I do in this podcast is talk about how great people are.
Right.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Great comedians, great friends like you, bow hunters and athletes and musicians and rappers and singers and fucking guitar players and I love people.
Yeah.
I think that's a giant part of life, man. It's like life is all of these creatures that we call human beings existing for this very short amount of time. And you could spend that short amount of time, that 100 years if you're lucky, you could spend that 100 years being a creep and being an asshole and hating your neighbor and hating everybody else. Or you could just forgive people and just be as nice as you can and reserve the real hate and anger for when you're fucking protecting your life or you're protecting loved ones. People make mistakes. People are fucked. They're flawed. They're filled with, you've thought in a negative way in the past. I've thought in a negative way in the past. It's like we're all capable of great things. It's just we have to find that path to these great things. Yeah. And when you do find that path, if you share it with others, it helps. You don't want to keep it to yourself. Tell other people. Tell them all.
They want to elevate that too.
Yes.
I mean, one thing I picked up that you just said, but where you change your perspective on something you said and then you read it back. I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people to. For one thing, there's people I've worked with before that I've never heard them say, "I don't know." I actually don't know.
It's crazy, right?
You know, they always know, and it's like, no, it's okay to say you don't know. Or another thing is, somebody could say, well, but I thought last time you said it was this way, and nobody wants to say, yeah, I did, I was wrong.
Right.
Those things,
right?
I don't know, and yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Jocko about this with this origin thing that we're involved in. That's one thing that I've noticed with Jocko and Origin and the men involved in this is that it doesn't seem like there's an ego that's protecting things. It's always like taken in that positive light.
Yes.
The feedback or nobody's really married to this thing like, this has to be this way and I'm not compromising.
Right.
It's always like, oh, okay, I didn't think of that.
Well, it's leadership, right? I mean, Jocko was a Navy SEAL leader. And when you lead a bunch of elite alpha males, like a bunch of Navy SEALs, you can't have any of that bullshit.
Right.
You got to be there and
not operate at the best. If I mean, there's no way to be the best.
No, and Jocko was at the best.
Yeah.
And that sort of mentality, that's one of the beautiful things about what Jocko does when he teaches leadership. When he calls it extreme ownership.
Right.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Own everything.
Yeah. I was wrong.
Yeah.
That's part of owning whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I was actually wrong on that, and I've learned since then.
Human beings are so messy, man.
I know.
There's so much going on, and I'm a different person 15 times a day, depending upon whether I've eaten, whether I'm tired, whether I got good news or bad news, and like it's hard to navigate through that weird sort of river of emotions and expectations and anxiety and just be consistent and have these principles that you follow by, like be honest, be truthful, be nice whenever possible,
right?
Be disciplined, be grateful, get through it. But if you can do that, you can write a fucking book like Cam Haines and it'll be awesome. It's just,
thank you.
That's what we all strive for. We all strive to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And there's a lot involved in that, and you can't get that way through bullshit. It doesn't exist. No one who reaches the top of anything got there through bullshit.
Right.
Like that whole fake it till you make it. Get the fuck out of here with that. Nobody says that has ever made it.
Yeah.
That's not real. That fake it till you make it shit. No, just fucking be real about what it is and strive to make it. And whatever making it is, I don't even know what making it is.
I don't either.
I don't think it exists because I don't feel like I made it. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I could ever imagine being as successful as I am now when I was a child.
Right.
But I still don't think I made it.
Right.
I don't think it's a place. I think it's bullshit. I think it's like fucking Narnia. I don't think it exists.
Well, how do you everybody would look at your life and think that you made it. So how do you have that? What is it about that? Why are you, we've talked about different things. We talked about archery and like, we need to just these big goals in archery and like a business and things like this. Why do you keep chasing new things? I mean, what is it? What drives you?
I don't know. I don't think about it that much. I mean, I just do it. That's like that's how I measure whether or not I'm okay. That's how I figure it out. Like I don't think anybody who doesn't have challenges in their life is happy. I don't think the human animal is designed for no challenges. I think the human animal is designed for constant tests. And when you reach, I don't think there's ever going to be a point in my life when I don't do difficult things. I'm going to be doing some difficult shit until my fucking ticker stops. And that's just how it goes. That's the whole idea. Everybody wants this moment where you're drinking lemonade with your wife and just sitting out there looking at the sunset. Like Jordan Peterson said that. He's like, it was a great video that you could probably find if you go looking online. It's like, what is making it? And he's like, what's your version of making it? Oh, I want to be sitting on the beach drinking margaritas. He goes, for how long? For 6 months?
Yeah.
And he goes, you're gonna have liver failure. He goes, what, you're gonna get bored. Like, what are you? That's not real. This idea that people have of these moments that you're gonna reach, this like holding hands and walking into the sunset, like that shit's not real.
Can't do it.
What's real is in the now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And what I know about in the now is that I have a human body that has it's a 54-year-old body that has been a part of the genetic chain that has evolved for hundreds of thousands of years, when it had to fight off predators and hide from warring tribes and go to battle against intruders and find food for your children. And that body and that mind needs problems.
Right.
It needs problems. It needs to find solutions. It needs work. It needs stress. You know, I got up this morning, took my kid to school, and then I went and did a fucking brutal leg workout. No one's over my shoulder telling me how to do it. There's no one there. I didn't even listen to any music. Today I just decided to just fucking grind. And while I was doing that, it was interesting because like when it was over, I finally got through it all. It was like an hour and a half later. I'm exhausted. I can't walk. You know, my legs are all wobbly and shit. But I was like, I did it. Ha ha. Like another day.
You won.
See you tomorrow, bitch.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
And that's like my little battle that I'm playing with life. My little battle that I'm playing with life is if there's no hard things for me to do, I'm going to make my own hard thing.
Right.
Because I know that if I don't, then the rest of life will be hard.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want that.
No.
I want the rest of life to be easy. So the hardest thing that I do, I want it to be some shit that I make myself do.
Right.
That way the other things that break other people, for me, I'm like,
right.
This is easy. You can't do to me what I do to myself.
Right.
You're not going to.
And that's exactly like when you talk about the long races, that if nothing else, they're terrible during it. And I do actually enjoy that feeling, but also it makes regular life seem like, wait, what are you upset about?
Yeah.
You know, this is nothing.
I remember we were hanging out once, and I forget who it was that said to you, well, after this is over, you and I should race. And you go, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's the way that you said it. You said good luck with that like a guy who's run for 3 days straight through the mountains. Yeah. Because like when you did it was after you did the Moab 242. Right. And I know they were just fucking around.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was the way you said it. You were like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, if that's just what I've done every day forever. But and like you said, you lifted today. That's what I was doing when you came and picked me up today. Yeah. It's like lifting in the gym. It's like I think once you have that you need that.
You need it.
You need it.
You need something, whether it's yoga or running or something. You need something.
Because regular life, there's challenge, but not we eliminate all the challenge. We're never really that hot. We're never really that cold.
It's easy to get food.
We're never hungry. You know, it's just like, so if you just take the path of least resistance, man, you're not maximizing your life.
And obviously for people out there that have to work 16 hours a day and, you know, you do have a very difficult physical job, you don't have the time or the energy to do other things. I get it. You're doing it already. You're doing it whether you're realizing it or not by enduring those days.
So much respect for the workers that keep us going. You know what I mean? So I get that too. And they're at the top of my list, the laborers. And at my work, the guys who are in the field putting water line in the ground, how do you not respect those guys? So I do get that too.
Hard living.
Yeah.
I remember I was reading this powerlifting article. This guy was talking about powerlifting, and one of the things that he recommended was to get a hard labor job.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is interesting. And he was like, some of the biggest gains that I made was when I was a mason and I was carrying bricks all day. And I remember thinking that, like, whoa, that's a commitment to getting strong.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's idea was just get a job where you have to lift heavy shit all day and then go to the gym.
Yeah, I know.
And I remember I was like, I think when I was like 18 or 19, when I read that, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It was like daunting for
Right.
someone who was already struggling with discipline. I was like, my God, that's daunting.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's choosing to get a hard labor job just to strengthen his body.
Yeah, but you know as well as anybody what your body is capable of.
Yeah.
I mean, we're capable of so much, and then we water that down, and we don't expect much of our body. And it's
Yeah.
like, you can't tell me that there's people who are doing just incredible things that are the exact same species as us are. I mean, maybe we can't do what they do. We can do a lot more, or a lot closer, or challenge ourselves and get to a higher level for sure than just bare minimum.
You could do a lot more than you think you can.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You could do a lot more than you think you can. And it's hard to get a person to recognize that without actually setting a goal and trying to achieve that goal. Because if you're just kind of going to the gym every day and you have some sort of lackadaisical, like, well, I'm going to get my time, man. I'm not going to kill myself. Just going to put a little workout in. You don't really know what you're capable of until you like set a goal. And that's when you realize it's like, you're capable of a lot. The body has an amazing capacity, amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just you have to push it, or it's never going to find that. You're always going to think that you're capable of less.
And so I've always said this: your body will give what you ask of it. If you don't ask much, it won't give you much. But I see that how not genetics. I don't know. Your body can change. I put up this thing. Did you see that archery video about the guys shooting?
Yes.
And their bone structure changed.
Yeah.
So did that change? I mean, is it that person changed their body? Or
Well, let's talk about what that video is for people that didn't see it. These guys, they found that these long bows that these Europeans were pulling back. What was it, 190 pounds to pull them back?
it was, I think they were over 100. I don't know if they were up to the Mongolians 160, but they were.
Well, let's see. Find the video because it's on Cam's Instagram.
Is it?
I think it was more than that. I think it was more than the Mongolians. I
And so
think
their bone structure changed.
which makes sense. Because, like, if you're doing this for war, and it's like whether or not your arrow can pierce armor,
Right.
whether or not your arrow can go through, like, these thick cowhide shields that they put on, or whatever they had on them, wood, or whether it was metal. Like, there it is. Let's give me some volume on this and replay it. You got to click that little thing. There you go.
We're superhuman. Let me explain. This is an English longbowman. He has a different skeleton than us. So one of the main reasons why England was so dominant in the Middle Ages was because these guys were so deadly. There are historical records of these bows piercing through armor, but historians thought it was a myth. It was an exaggeration. But then archaeologists finally actually found some of these bows in a shipwreck. And they found something that shocked them. You see, modern big game hunting bows have a draw weight of about 60 to 70 pounds. Maybe some folks go up to like 80 or 90. These English longbows had a draw weight of up to 190 pounds. Modern bow hunters actually debate these findings because they think it's unrealistic. But people in England were required to train with a bow from childhood on, and it actually changed their skeletal structure. The bones in their left arms became enlarged. Their fingers looked different. They basically became superhuman. People in the past...
Yeah.
Superhuman's the goal.
Oh,
yeah.
and that's what I said.
Yeah.
And it's like, but okay, that's one thing. But it reminded me of Goggins' story where he had knee issues and things like that. And
That's putting it mildly.
right. But I mean, his body changed.
Yeah, his knee issues were so crazy that he had bone-on-bone arthritis for a decade and was running. So it's something called like Wolf syndrome, I think it's called, where his bone tried to adapt to the fact that it was getting tortured. So it like misshaped. And when his doctor looked at his knee, he said, I can't imagine that you can fucking walk on this.
Right.
Never mind run thousands of miles.
Yeah. And he did, in his book, amazing book, Can't Hurt Me, but he ran 7,000 miles in 1 year. which is, 20 miles a day every single day. So he's put in the miles. Yeah, and he's still, there wasn't long ago, I met him down there. He talks about this in the book, and we went on a 20-mile run, and he's running hard.
With no meniscus, no cartilage.
With his knees just thrashed. But it's just like that mindset. So, but this video, this English longbowman, and then you talk about your body adapting, me saying that your body gives what you ask of it, is 100% true.
Yeah, it's 100% true.
These people who are in this thing about path of least resistance, what do you expect is going to happen?
You're going to get the least results.
You got to push yourself, and then your body, just as we've seen with these examples, will respond in incredible ways.
And you don't have to do it right away either. You could start slowly. You could build up to it. You don't want to get yourself to a position where all your ligaments blow apart and your shoulders fall off. You got to work your way up to it, but have some goals and do it. Think of it the same way you think about medicine. If you had a disease, let's think if you had a disease and they said, hey, Cam, we got bad news. The bad news is you have a terrible disease and it's going to destroy your body and it's going to destroy your life and it's going to destroy your mind. And it's going to leave you depressed, and it's going to leave you sad and despondent, but we have a cure.
Doesn't sound good so far.
That cure is exercise, and you got to take that cure every day. And if you don't take that cure every day, you're going to go down the road that the standard American diet practitioner has. You're going to get diabetes, you're going to be fat, you're going to have arthritis, you're going to be fucked. But if you do, you're going to thrive, and you're going to live a life like you and I are both 54 years old, and that's fucking old for someone who works out like we do. When we were kids, you remember what you thought about a 54-year-old?
Oh, yeah, old as hell.
Oh my God, dead man.
Yeah, dead.
I remember when I was in high school, I had a crush on Madonna.
Look at this old man. Yeah.
I had a crush on Madonna.
She was so hot.
She was hot as fuck. Then I found out she was 26. I was like, God, that bitch is old. I remember thinking that. I
don't know. But
26. And I was like, God, she's so old.
And remember when what was that? Vision Quest? Remember she was playing in the bar or whatever that was?
Oh my God, I've seen that movie 100 times. That was my movie, man. When I used to get pumped up for martial arts.
How awesome was that story?
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Matthew Modine.
I know.
I don't know who that guy was that played the bad guy.
The badass.
Yeah. Fuck, that movie was great.
I know. I just watched it not long ago.
Is this the bar scene?
Yeah.
There it is.
Come on, Madonna.
Madonna's up there dancing. She's singing Crazy for You.
I know.
Look at her.
Yeah, look at that.
She was hot. And now she's
crazy.
Odd. It's odd now. Now she's
not hot and crazy.
It's I don't know if she's crazy because it's hard because you get an impression of someone through social media and it's very difficult to find out if that's really who they.
So that's not her right there. I thought that's how she was in real life.
Oh, she's crazy
dancing,
back then,
having fun.
but she's on stage and performing. But she seems, I'm going to say this kindly, a bit unhinged. I'm not happy with what she's doing. Well, let me hear some volume. Let me hear what's going on here.
Somebody could call me.
Let's see what she's saying. Just restart that so I can see what the fuck she's saying.
It's a song promo.
Okay, but
here's a toast to the incredible position that we are all in as artists, that we are able to make something out of nothing.
Amen.
Listen,
cheers to that.
She's hanging next to a dude who looks like a alien reptile.
Yeah, but I like that guy. I follow that guy.
The guy with the reptile head?
With the mask on.
Who's that guy?
Sick. His music, he does his remixes with music.
Sickick?
Oh,
That's
it's
his name?
so
Sickick?
good.
Yeah?
Yeah, listen to one of these.
Oh, I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah,
give me some.
he's awesome.
Give me some.
Well, I'll try to pick one that wasn't new. It's got a lot of views
How
on
about
that.
this? Okay.
When I move, you move. When I move, you move. When I move, you move. Hell yeah, hey DJ, bring that back. Like that.
Oh, he's a DJ, so he's mixing stuff. It's a good move too, because he can go to the grocery store and nobody fucks with him.
Yeah,
right. He's balling with that crazy Darth Vader gold, whatever the fuck.
He always wears different masks, but yeah, it's like a little remix on hits.
That's smart. It's like that Marshmallow guy. He can go anywhere.
Yeah,
and meanwhile, he's still selling out stadiums.
I know.
Those are
and he's got
masks, though.
They're sweet masks.
I know. And look at his hoodie. He's got his logo and it's sick.
Do you think he wore those during the coronavirus, during the pandemic?
For safety.
Yeah,
that's how it started.
Did
it could be.
It might be how it started. I mean, if you had to wear a mask, if they told you got to wear a mask, and you wore that mask.
Do you care about your community or not?
I do.
Okay.
You care about your
Then wear one of those.
your fellow people. But that's the thing. It's like you didn't used to be able to wear a mask like that. If you went
Yeah.
into a restaurant before and you had that mask,
Yeah.
people would be like, well, you got to get out of here.
But look at the branding. I mean, so those thumbnails, see how sick they are?
Yeah.
It's consistent,
Yeah.
colorful.
Yeah. Pretty
how,
dope.
How many followers does
And
he
he's
have
got the
now?
crazy S. Let me guess. Don't look at it. 1.7 million.
Way more.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
4.4 million.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay,
I
was a
like
little
this
off, but
guy.
He might have a lot of fake followers.
Bots.
That's one thing they found out about
Elon.
Twitter. Elon put the hold on the Twitter purchase. He's like, hey, how many fucking fake followers do you guys have?
I'm a little skeptical on that.
In what way?
Everybody kind of knows, except for the people at Twitter that put out that 5%
Right.
bot thing.
But
They said they're only checking 100 accounts or something.
Yeah.
That was their sample
that's
size?
the sample size. And
Yeah.
he got in trouble for saying that because he violated the NDA.
That's just.
Gotta be like 50%, 60%.
Have you
Really?
It's so high.
When
You
I
think
make
it's 50% fake?
If you look at some people's accounts when they tweet something, the amount of interaction that's happening at that moment is not real. It
when
can't.
I
It
when I
couldn't be
put
real.
something up and then those girls, the
Right.
whatever porn girls or whoever they are.
Oh, the
how-
bots. They're not girls. Those are fat Russian
No,
guys.
they like me. What are you talking about? They're my fans.
They give you the
But-
splash, the water splash on the eggplant.
Yeah, I'm in love with you or whatever they
Yeah.
say. But how do they get 1 million likes in 1 second?
So the moment that Instagram allowed people on PCs to look at it on a browser, the bots took over Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
Because they can set up programs to watch things change and update and immediately put comments on it. Now that they can add photos to it too, it's kind of ruined the platform.
Have you seen the way they used to do it, where they used to have like a whole shelf filled with cell phones, and they were all connected with wires in the
no.
wall?
Really?
Yeah, and they were running programs on each cell phone. They would call it a bot farm.
Well, I got the opposite of that on my page because if you're conservative and white, then you're shut down basically. So-
Guess what? If you're conservative and black, you're shut down too.
Right. So yeah. So I'm what the algorithm is
Yeah.
nothing now. I mean, compared to what it used to be.
Well, they've done something. What's interesting is when Elon Musk said that he was going to buy Twitter, and then he made an offer and Twitter accepted it, immediately I started getting way more followers. And I mean way more followers. From the time that Elon Musk said that he was going to buy Twitter and they accepted it, I have gained 800,000 followers now.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like 100,000 in like the last week or so.
wonder. So what's up with that?
I have no idea, but it's wild to see. Like I've almost gained 1 million followers since he decided that he was going, and this is just on Twitter.
Yeah.
Instagram is way slower than it used to be, and there's way less engagement. It's interesting. It's like
Yeah.
they've done something. They've decided that I'm controversial or something.
Yeah.
They put me in some sort of a category.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not that controversial. If you look at what I post, it's not that controversial. I don't like how fucking narrow do you want?
What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, like also like how narrow do you want the content to be? Like
Yeah.
your band of like what is okay and what's not okay.
You can say
You've just
blue hair is good.
Yeah, but they've just decided that I'm problematic. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what's happened.
I don't either. I mean, what's the category? Are they sitting back there going, yeah, this guy, I mean, we don't like what he says. He's doesn't talk about being woke enough, so he's in this bucket.
I post funny things. I post interesting things. I post whatever I like to post.
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't have a lot of
You
ideology.
don't have an agenda.
No.
You don't have an agenda. I mean, it's not like you're promoting this one thing and they're like, well, this isn't healthy or this isn't.
I know, but
whatever.
for a lot of people, I represent like anti-masks or antiviral, anti-vaccine.
You just said
anti
you want a
this,
mask
anti-that.
like this.
I know, it's
like sick.
But it's like a lot of people,
Nick.
like because of all the shit that I went through with COVID,
Yeah.
a lot of people put it into this. They put me into this category because of the conversations that I've had with like Robert Malone and
Right.
and Peter McCullough. There's some weird algorithm issues.
One thing, I'm just looking at your feed. One thing I could guess would be they don't like when you, not you specifically, but when people post a lot of text on a thing.
Really?
They lean into like videos and pictures. So when
But-
people post things with text,
Really?
it kind of gets devalued immediately.
Really?
100%. I've made posts that it tells me that
on Twitter or Instagram.
on Instagram and Facebook.
What do you mean it's told you that? How's it say
when I
it?
used to make them, it used to say like there's too much text in this.
It said it?
Yeah.
How did it say it?
It'd
In
be
what
like
way?
a filter. It'd be like when you're uploading the thing. It'd be like it would tell me like on the top and bottom there's like too much text here. You're not going to get X amount of engagement or whatever. And if you
I've
pay
never
to get
seen
more,
that. I've never seen that.
you're not uploading through like an ad platform or through the business platform. You're just uploading to your account.
What are you uploading through?
When would it have been? Like through Facebook? Like when I'm using your page to upload something like
And
that.
they'll say,
I see.
Consider.
Like
they'll say
videos.
like consider cutting down the amount of text.
Consider
Or-
making your shit for stupid people.
Or they just want your money so that you'll promote that post. And
Right.
I think that's really more what it is. They
That's a
just-
big thing.
They just
Yeah.
want money.
Yeah.
Promoting your post question is like, I don't know how valuable that is. I've never promoted things like that. Maybe I have a couple of times actually.
And that
now
gets
I
into
think
the
about it.
bots because bots are bleeding the ad
They
platform.
get rid of it? It gets rid of the bots?
No, the opposite. So I just,
Oh.
let me try to word it the right way. When you have an ad campaign, you put up like $100. I want to spend $100 on this post, and I want it to go to these people.
Yeah.
And it'll take 5 days. Bots can make that erase in an hour or two because it's just populating. And then they'll start advertising that won't happen if you do this like X, Y, and Z.
Oh,
It still happens.
so it's like a scam.
But it's not like the platform's necessarily doing it.
Yeah.
They're just sort of like letting it
I
happen.
wish we had two accounts that had the exact same amount of followers and we posted the exact same post and put one of them and then said boost this post and spent money.
Yeah.
Spent like the maximum amount of money that you can and the other one not and see what the difference is. Because I wonder like what the return would be. Like how much can you spend? Like let's say if I put up a post that, hey, which is true, July 1st, I'm going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand. Ooh.
Sweet.
So exciting.
Big show.
It's a big show. But if I put that up on Instagram with a photograph and I said that and then it said boost post, if I wish I had two accounts with the exact same, that's me.
Yeah. there
As
you go. Boost that
Siegfried
thing.
or Roy. I don't know which one I'm at. I think I'm Siegfried there.
Boost that
The
one.
white tiger. Is that the guy who got jacked? Who got jacked?
I don't know.
They're both dead now,
Yeah.
right?
It would work that way, but I've seen it happen in the opposite way, where like because that's just engagement. So if you hired a company to do that for you, at the end of their work with you, they'd show you like, here's what we did. Here's our evidence of you
Yeah.
gave us $10,000. We returned you 100,000 views.
Right.
The last day, if they didn't get those 100,000 views, they only had 50,000. They might spend some money to show that they got 100,000
Right.
views, just to show you the client that they did all their work.
I wonder what's the most amount you could spend on a post.
How much money do you have to spend?
Is that
They'll
true?
take it
Like,
all?
say if I wanted to do an ad for Endure with Cameron Haynes, available now. If you're watching this or listening to this, it's available now. If I wanted to do an ad for that, what is the most amount I could spend on that ad?
On the plat. So I would guess this is how it works because without having done it,
Let's
you could
test
probably
it
go
out.
to
Let's test it out.
10, 20,000 bucks on the platform. But if you want to spend $1 million, they'll just have a phone call with you. Like, what do you want to do?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you could spend $1 million. So if you want to promote a movie, you know,
that's how
could
you
do
end
that.
up in the videos. And I'm like, you'll call YouTube. Like, we want to spend $2 million on YouTube advertising. Like, all right, we have a better idea. Why don't we put you in some of the videos with some of our creators? And we'll.
Oh, they do that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm so naive. So for someone with a large following, I'm very naive.
But
think-
this is all like marketing manipulation stuff. And that,
Yeah.
But that's the
bot
part of the
stuff adds
problem.
into it. Yeah,
I
bots are.
but also like I feel like manipulation is like the antithesis of what I do. Like if I do that, like if I had fake like I know people that have hired a company that gets them fake followers.
Right.
Because like if you're a fighter, just for example,
value, yeah.
and you say, you know, this fighter has 1.2 million Instagram followers. That's
Right.
very valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like if you're going to get hired by Bellator or something like that, and they find out you have 1 million followers, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And they might give you more money for that. So you can hire a company. And at one point in time, people were doing it for Twitter, and it wasn't that much money. It was pretty impressive.
And to jack up their numbers.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
jack it up through the fucking roof,
Yeah.
like quick. I know people that got like 250,000 followers. We know people that did that were in the hunting world.
Yeah.
And then people are like, hey, how does that person have
Right,
a
exactly.
250,000 followers? And they got them all within like 3 months. And then you look at the engagement, and it's
Yeah.
like, 200 likes,
Yeah.
1,000 likes. Like that
You
doesn't
can tell what's organic and what's not.
exactly.
If you look at it, yeah.
But it's that appearance is what a lot of people
Yeah.
are going for.
Just a follower number.
That's the problem with social media. It's that like everyone's trying to pretend there's something that they're not. And I think that's one of the reasons why people, they really connect with your content, is because you can't fake running a mountain.
Right.
You're running it. There's Cam
It's
running
tough
that
to
mountain.
do.
You're 100% running it. You
Yeah.
jump up on that log at the top. What
Yeah.
is that thing? It's not a log.
It's a
What is it?
monument.
Monument. You jump up on that monument at the top of Mount
Yeah.
Pinska. Yeah, you ran it. That's
Yeah.
it. You did or
Can't
you
fake.
didn't.
I've thought about that too because, fitness, there's probably quite a few fitness people who kind of fake it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, if that's all you're doing, it's tough to fake running a marathon for time.
Yes.
I mean, it's
You
just,
can't.
you can fake that you ran every day and then you sign up for a race and your time will tell you whether you've been lying this whole time, right? It's same with hunting.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
hunting's the same way. So it's really hard to fake what I do basically.
Yeah, it's impossible. Everything you do is impossible to fake. It's impossible to fake being able to execute a good shot on an elk in the mountains in real life. You can't fake that. There's no faking. You
Right.
either can do it or you can't do it. And if you can do it, boy, you had to go through a lot of work to get there.
Yeah. And I see people because, obviously I've worked to a position now where I can go on some great hunts. Actually, the best elk hunts in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I've geared my whole life to. And I've seen people say, well, anybody could do that with money. And I'm like, okay.
Sort of.
Well,
We know a lot of people that have done it with money and they fail.
well, so if they want to say that, anybody could kill 4 bulls a year with money, where are they? Where are these people?
Go make your money. Go make your money and go do it.
How come nobody's ever done it? It's just
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? If that's all it took, I know a lot of people with money. Why has nobody done it?
Right.
So
You might be able to do it with a rifle.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know anybody who's killed 4 bulls in a year.
With a rifle.
Yeah, with anything.
I think you could do it with a rifle if you went on the right hunts. I don't think it would be as hard, but it still would be complex because you would have to still get up that mountain.
Yeah.
Getting up that mountain is no goddamn joke. I remember the first time Ranella took me hunting mule deer, and we were in Montana in the breaks, right over the Missouri River, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, this is hard to do," because I
Well-
was in fucking good shape at the time. I remember, like, I was doing jiu-jitsu 4 times a week. I was training hard. I was in pretty damn good condition, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, this is shocking."
Well, we've went after elk too in
hard.
Utah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like thinner air, less oxygen because you're higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that tells you right away. It's just different. It's different.
It's different.
Like in the gym, it's a little more explosive maybe when
Yeah.
fighting and training and kicking the bag. That long pushing up a mountain, that's just kind of a grind that just doesn't stop.
There's no breaks.
Yeah.
You could take a break, but then you got to keep going.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
like I remember one specifically, and is we were trying to keep the wind right. We didn't kill the bull, but there was a bull coming over. He was bugling, and we had to get above him to get the wind right. And
Yeah.
so we had to push. And then
Yeah.
we got up to this bench, and it's kind of this bedding area. It was like, I remember, it's just amazing looking elk country. But we went past it, and then we went up, and we kind of were side hill, and those bulls were going crazy down here, and you almost had a shot at a bull, and then we kind of went
Mm-hmm.
up. But it's like that whole push to keep that wind right as the thermals were going up. It was a fight.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember trying to keep up with you, motherfucker. Cam went up that hill like a goddamn billy goat.
Yeah.
I was like, this is embarrassing. It's so your endurance is so preposterous. You would get to the top, and I would literally be having a heart attack, and you wouldn't even be breathing heavy. You'd just be glassing. It's
Yeah.
like, this is incredible. But that's why you do what you do.
Right.
It's like
That's the only reason.
and it pays off. I remember one of the first times we ever hunted together. We were at this ranch, and you said, "I'm gonna go check to see what's over the top of this hill. Like I hear this bull," and you just ran up the hill. And the dude that I was with goes, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I go, "Yeah, that's like, do that shit for years, and you could do that too.
Yeah.
That's what it is."
Yeah. I mean, it's there's a lot to it. There's a lot to hunting that people who don't hunt don't realize, and there's a lot that goes into, like, for me, my mindset has always been that I need to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So I built this tool, the skill set that allows me to be at my best there and doing that. And even like last year, we had a bull, and I needed to get around all the way around to see where that bull might be. Remember, and I ran around that whole canyon to try to get eyes on the bull. And sometimes, is that typical hunting? No, but if you got to do it,
you can do it. That's the thing. Like people say, oh, you don't need to do that. I've heard criticisms about you from fat people, and they're like, oh, you don't need to do that to kill a bull. Like, go with him.
Yeah.
Go with him and tell me you don't need to do that.
Right.
You're saying that, but you never hunted with him.
Right.
Like when someone has hunted with you and they see the value in that, like you're not doing it because you're stupid. You're getting in that kind of shape because it's valuable. It's very valuable to be able to move through the mountains like that. Because when you see an elk run up the side of a mountain like it's flat ground, it's wild to see.
They're incredible.
Because they're there every damn day, and they're doing that to get away from mountain lions and wolves. And that's what they do.
That's right.
And you can get your body to a much more robust state where you can't do it like they do it, but you can do it a lot better than regular people can do it, and it'll make the difference between success and failure.
Yeah, oftentimes it will. It's you said, people have talked a lot of shit about me and what I do, but it's never anybody who's hunted with me.
Right.
It's
haters.
So if you've never hunted with me, whatever, you can have your own opinion. But if we've hunted together, this is what I do. This is all I've done. This is my focus every day. And it's just like, you might not like me personally. It's going to be tough to hate on what I do.
That's the thing. It's like, we've talked about this before. It's like that expression, be undeniable. There's a certain level that you can achieve in life where you can say all you want about Michael Jordan. That motherfucker's undeniable. He's one of the greatest basketball players that's ever walked the face of the planet Earth, if not the best. That's just an undeniable person. And there's very few people that get to that undeniable place. And if you really want to have no excuses in life, you're going to have to be undeniable.
Right.
And you're going to have haters. You're going to have haters. But those haters can all suck it, because they're just lying to themselves.
There's people, and I mentioned people like that in the book because I have a lot of good quotes, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from people like Michael Jordan, just the elites. Kobe. I remember Kobe had, I think I just saw a clip the other day of Allen Iverson, another great Hall of Famer, and he said when they'd go out to the club, Kobe would go to the gym. And he's like, it's why there's only one Kobe.
Yeah.
He was just working harder.
It's Floyd Mayweather, same thing. Floyd Mayweather didn't drink. He would go to the club, drink fucking sparkling water, and then he would run home.
Yeah.
Run home with shoes on, with he had sneakers on, but run home with pants on, jeans and a shirt with a gold chain. And he'd be running down the Vegas Strip, shadow boxing at 2 o'clock in the morning, where everybody else was throwing up in a dumpster.
Right. So it's like when you say that you have these goals, or those guys are you say their name. You don't have to say their first name. Michael, Kobe, Floyd. And it's like, if that, you're not going to be able to do what normal people do.
Right.
So you got to get rid of that. Do you want to be elite or do you want to be normal? Well, if you want to be elite, you're going to have to step out of what normal people would think, or what they do and how they think and how they approach things. And you can do it. And you can take those, that's how I say it. There's a whole point to the books. You can take those nuggets and apply them to your own life. And it's like, who knows what's possible?
A lot more is possible than the people that sell themselves short believe. That's for sure. And it's like, there are genetics involved, and there are limitations physically, and they're all limited. I mean, if you're 60 years old and you're listening to this and you're 350 pounds, your goal should not be to be the next Michael Jordan. Your goal should be to be healthy.
Right.
And that is 100% possible.
Yeah.
There was a guy, I was watching a video of him the other day, and one of the reasons why I was watching this video is because it had, it had me and a couple other people talking over the video. Someone had sent it, and it was just talking about doing things. And the video was this guy being really fat, and at the end of the video, he lost 160 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a bunch of those.
No,
out
you
there.
sent me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome.
It's amazing.
I think he had a Rogan Haynes hat on, actually,
Yes,
didn't he?
Okay, I'm thinking of a different guy, but that guy did.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that guy did. And that guy's another guy that's lost a shitload of weight.
Yeah. Oh,
That
different
is-
one. Okay.
But there's a bunch of those. There's a
know.
lot of those videos out there.
Yeah, they're not going to be Jordan. But
No.
what could their life be? And also, then not only could what their life be, who could they impact?
Yes.
You know, that's this whole, we talk about this ripple effect. Well, you're going to do this, then that's going to impact this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then their kids, then who knows what, and collectively, you know, it's the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
That video that I sent you made me feel good and it got me inspired. Watching this guy with literally my quotes and
Yeah.
wearing a T-shirt of you and I, and this guy got in shape and I got fired up.
God, isn't
It's
that?
like it's like a cycle.
It
It
is.
helps everybody.
It is.
And it's also beautiful. I love watching someone just get their life together. I love it. It's amazing when that happens.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's possible for everybody. It's possible for. I was looking at this old lady online the other day, and she was a 65-year-old woman who just started powerlifting. I'm like, this is amazing.
65.
65, doing deadlifts and shit. I'm like, that's incredible. Like, it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, and now all of a sudden, like, she's strong. She's a strong granny.
Oh, man.
Like, you can do that. It's like you're not going to do it overnight.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
but you can do it.
Yeah, but these episodes that we talk about, these things we go through and this training we do, it does carry over to everyday life and how confident you are in other dealings, maybe in business or maybe a interaction wherever. It's like that confidence that you built up from your training or from being dedicated to something or to making a positive change, that carries over.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like, yeah, it's not an immediate result. Maybe you're not going to be night and day overnight. You know, I lost 100 pounds. Obviously, that's not going to happen overnight. But this effect can impact all these other relationships.
It can impact people around you. It can impact the people that you contact and you touch through social media and through an online presence. It can impact people that'll listen to a podcast like this. That's a beautiful thing when you literally can give people a little lift, a little help, a little pick me up. And I love those pick-me-ups. I get them from Goggins. I get them from you. I get them from all kinds of people online. I get them from random people. I get them from that old lady powerlifting. I get them from people. I think that's one of the beautiful things about social media is that, you know, there's a lot of toxicity, but it's really just like what you gravitate towards.
Yeah.
You got to develop a discipline when it comes to that stuff, too. It's one of the reasons why I don't read comments. I'm like, that is just the chance and the possibility of negativity is just not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze.
Unless you're Goggins.
And plus, yeah, unless you're Goggins. I don't want any. I don't need any compliments.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in compliments.
Right, yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Love you all. But I get it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep moving. I know what I'm doing.
I
You don't need
agree.
to tell me that everything's great.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm not interested. I'm interested in other people's success. I'm interested in mindsets. I'm interested in philosophy. I'm interested in like what a person had to go through to become who they are, like the Francis Ngannou story or the guy who lost 160 pounds. That shit gets me going. I love it. And that's the beautiful thing about social media. I think there's more fuel and more inspiration for success and for happiness and camaraderie and community than there's ever been before. It's just what you concentrate on.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, they complain about algorithms, rightly so, that like if you only gravitate towards negative things and the algorithm only shows you negative things and you
Yeah.
just always like to be upset and the algorithm always shows you things you're upset.
Yeah.
But my algorithm is filled with a lot of cool shit.
Yeah,
'Cause
mine too.
I'm not interested in negative. I'm not interested in it.
Mine too. My algorithm is filled with you shooting that bow today.
That was awesome. Yeah, Cam got me the new Keep Hammering bow. See that logo that says Keep Hammering on there? It's on my bow limbs. Yeah. It's a great bow. That new.
I figured it was a good bookend since the first time I came down here, I brought you a bow.
Yes.
We went on a bow hunt after that. And now this time, now you got a new Keep Hammering bow also. So,
Yeah.
oh, look at
Look at
that.
that. That is like right at the moment of release.
Look at that follow through.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. And that's
Somebody taught me.
So that's a 90-pound Keep Hammering. What is that bow?
Is the Hoyt Ventum? Is that
No,
what it is?
Ventum Pro 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome bow. And then I'm shooting your other bow, which is an 80-pound model, just like yours. But
And it's also a Keep Hammering one.
yeah, and it's just look at how perfect that fit. I mean, your bow's a little longer for me, but it still fits perfect in that shot right there.
That follow through is pretty sweet.
No, it's
Come on,
ideal.
son. Come on,
I
son.
mean, because how you can tell it's a good fall through is your bow arm is still up. A lot of
Yeah.
people drop that bow arm on release.
Right.
And you can tell that you just pulled through. You can see your release, you're holding that release and it's going back straight. Ideal. And that's archery country here in Austin, Texas.
What a great place.
Nicest guys. They're closed today, and they were all down there, all hands on deck, setting up these bows, and couldn't have done a better job.
No, it's pretty awesome. And it's just, it's archery is, if there's a thing that I've learned about difficult stuff, all of that could be learned through archery. And one of the things about archery that's amazing is that at the moment when you're aiming and releasing and executing a shot, you don't think about anything else.
Right, yeah.
It's cleansing. It cleanses the mind.
There's not very many things in today's day and age because we're distracted all the time. I mean, phones sitting here and different things. We look up things, we talk, but where you can it requires tunnel vision focus. That's one reason why I think the cold tubs are good too, because you can't think about anything else but that fucking cold tub and how miserable it is. But it takes your brain and it does something to it. Archery does that. For me, running does that.
Yeah.
I do think about things, but I'm pretty much solely focused on performing. But yeah, there's very few things that require that, and we need that. I think as humans, we're so distracted. Our brains are so we're such a complicated species where we have doubts and fears and all this thing, and you can overwhelm yourself.
You can.
So if you can have things that require you to shut all that off, I'm focusing on this right now, it's so healthy.
Didn't Fred Bear have a quote about that? About archery,
A troubled
shooting
mind.
a bow? Yeah.
Troubled mind. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real, man.
Nothing cures a troubled mind like shooting a bow.
I love it. I love going out and just launching arrows.
Yeah.
It just makes me so happy.
Well, you're so good at it too. It's just like one thing, I can't remember who I was talking about, is, hunting skill or hunting experience comes over time. There's no way to shortcut that. That just takes time in the field. But shooting, with how dedicated you are with training and everything in your life, it's went hand in hand with archery because you've just been all in on it, and it shows with your performance. It's like you can shoot. I mean, you shoot probably more than I do. And it's like, so you're controlling what you can control. You can't control experience. You're going to gain that, but you can control what you can, and that's the technical function of shooting a bow. And man, you're dialed in.
Well, it helps that we got a range right here at the studio.
It does. It does. And did you see how sick this hoodie looks in that picture?
That origin
with the
hoodie?
sleeves cut off?
Was it a dope pattern though? I got to say that they fucking nailed that camo pattern.
What about the sleeves?
The sleeves are a little rough. It's a little much, but that's you. My wife always makes fun of the fact that you cut your sleeves off. Things.
Yeah.
She thinks
Hey,
it's silly.
This is on brand.
That's on brand for
But
you.
no.
Yeah.
Or the origin camo. Oh my
dope.
God.
It's dope.
Looks so good. And that's the number one question that I see is, okay, take my money. When can I buy this?
Not yet.
I know.
Not yet.
I know. But
Yeah.
how exciting is it?
It's exciting because it's beautiful to have something that's 100% American made. The fabric, the construction,
Everything.
all of it, everything. Just like all of Origin stuff, and there's Jocko with it.
Oh my God.
This is all.
That looks scary. That actually gave me butterflies seeing his face right there. I was like, he's so intense.
He's intense.
And Echo's so nice, but so jacked.
Yeah, he's pretty jacked. Look at, he's got striations on his tattoo. He's got tattoos of muscles. Isn't that like muscle striations on his tattoos?
No, that's not a tattoo. That's just him. And
That's
he's
just being jacked.
yeah,
No.
it's just being. That's how jacked
Imagine
he is.
if you were that jacked.
Yeah.
You'd be like a character in a movie.
So these guys look very intimidating. The nicest people. And Jocko is like, he was reading my book. Is like kind of scary. I was like, wow, this is pretty intense. Him reading his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're involved in this origin thing, and it's like, I brought this up to Jocko. What it reminded me of is there's this. I sent it to you. This old series called "The Men Who Built America." I don't know if you probably haven't had a chance to watch it, but it's about John Rockefeller, all these people who came over, built America, like the railroad system, which we pretty much still use, oil, kerosene, lights. We are a dark society, and kerosene brought light, and so how basically we've evolved as a country in an industry. And in some weird way, this origin story reminds me of that because, as they tell so well, Origin and Pete and Jocko and Kip's involved too, but bringing these factories back to making American clothing and camo, and bringing this work back to America. And it reminds me of that industry being here in this country.
Yeah.
And it's such an honor to be involved in it.
It is an honor, and the company Origin that Jocko's put together is beautiful because all those people are really proud to do that, to make American-made goods. And I have 4 pairs of their boots that I bought. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so comfortable, and they're such high quality. It's like you feel it. It's like you could feel the handmade aspect of it when you're holding on to it. It's like it just it gives you pleasure. And people used to think that, oh, it doesn't matter, American made. Like, what are you, a nationalist? Why do you think about that? Like, well, during the pandemic, a lot of people realized, like, hey, it's not good to rely on something that's made on another fucking country that's across the ocean when you might not even be able to get a ship over there to bring it over here. And we're finding that about with chips for cars because there's a shortage, the supply chain shortage. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. And I mean, and also it's like, is China on our side, or do we want to send more money to China? Yeah. You know, I mean, because all these high-end, especially in the hunting industry, these high-end hunting brands, they're all made China, Korea, Taiwan. I mean, it's just like, it's fine. That's, you know, I guess they do a good job.
It's high-quality stuff, but here's my thought. Do you want money to go to people that get paid a living wage and get fair health care and benefits? I do. I want people to get paid well, and that's what Origin does, and that's what I think of when I think of something being American made. I'm like, okay, well, at least I know these workers are protected in some way.
Yeah.
More than they were if you like if you get an iPhone. Look, we all both have iPhones. You get an iPhone from China, you're getting it from someone that's working in a factory where you're surrounded by nets to keep you from jumping off the fucking roof. I wish there was an American-made cell phone because I would pay twice for it.
Yeah.
And I know some people can't, and I understand that. I'm not an elitist. I'm not delusional. I know that some people are struggling to just buy an iPhone for what it costs now, or any kind of phone. But if there was a fucking phone that was made in America, and I knew that the people who work there had dental and health care, and they're paid well, and they have benefits. Yeah. I would fucking buy it in a heartbeat.
Gotta
100%.
Support that.
100%.
Yeah. And that's what, so we all had that same collective mindset about, let's do this in America. I mean, Jocko, he sets a tone, and then Pete is so passionate about it. But we all believe that. Yeah. You know, we all have pride in our country. We and a living wage to American workers. It's like, that's what we want.
It's extremely valuable. It's very important. And, you get... Look, when jobs went overseas, I mean, everybody knows the story of that movie Roger and Me, but that's all about jobs leaving Flint, Michigan and going overseas and going to different countries and destroying the economies of these cities. And many of these cities have never returned. Mm-hmm. I'm in Detroit this weekend, and I'm doing, and every time I go to Detroit is making a comeback now. There's a lot of companies like Shinola and a lot of these companies that are proudly making things in Detroit, and there's a lot of like small businesses, but if you're there, you are starkly aware. Like it's the contrast between what it used to be. It used to be one of the richest cities in the world to what it is now, where you see abandoned buildings, skyscrapers with every window missing. It's terrible. Wild. It's wild, and it's all from industry pulling out so they can make more money somewhere else. And just destroying cities,
the fiber of the city, which was a city that was historic. I mean, Detroit is like
Detroit muscle.
Yeah, made American worker was Chrysler. I mean,
it's one of the greatest cars ever.
Right. When you think of Detroit, you think of, wow, those are guys. It's a hardworking city.
Yes. And now, I mean, look, like I said, it is making comeback. And, there's a lot of people that have a lot of pride in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Think about all the fucking great musicians that have come out of Detroit. Detroit Rock City, Kiss.
Kid Rock, yeah. Ted Nugent. There's a lot that came out of Detroit, but it's just, that's what can happen when you don't support American businesses. It can. It's not just a matter of whether or not you're paying more or less for something. It's like whether or not you're contributing to the destruction of a city. And the economy and the destruction of the people's lives that are involved in that industry. Yeah. And I don't know if we knew that back in the 1980s when they did that. I don't think so.
Quite think they did.
No, it wasn't. Nobody's looking at the big picture.
Yeah, they were trying to make money, more money by shipping, the job somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, and then that's what business does.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like, you know, as a capitalist society, if you can make money but also have our goal isn't, I don't know about making money. All I know is we have this goal of making American-made product, and it's just like that feels better.
Yeah.
That feels right.
It feels a lot better.
Yeah.
And, you know, knowing the guys over at Origin and knowing Jocko, it's like, yeah, it's great. It's like, I just think they're not going to be able to make enough. That's
Yeah.
my worry.
Oh,
Is that there's going to be so much
guaranteed.
demand for it.
Guaranteed, we're going to have a hard time keeping up with demand, but you know, that's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to
We
have.
don't want people frustrated either. You know.
No. Yeah. It's
So we want to provide.
it's also really quality stuff. Like what we're trying to put together
this
is quality
hoodie-
stuff.
Dude, this
It's nice.
hoodie
would have been
is-
great if it had sleeves.
It did till
Why do you do that?
this morning.
What are you into? Why are you into hacking off sleeves? I don't understand that.
Sleeves are kryptonite.
They get in the way. But you
Yeah.
have sleeves on that T-shirt.
Yeah, but they're lighter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Yes.
you hack those off too.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I don't.
Who the fuck does that? I don't
Hey.
know. You're the only guy I know that chops sleeves off of his shirts. Have you always done that?
Didn't Rocky do that?
Bert's doing it. That's his new thing for the summer.
Bert
Bert?
Kreischer's doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he stole it from you.
So Rocky and
you should
Bert.
start taking your shirt off. like
Remember
Bert does.
Rocky had like a half shirt in Apollo
Oh,
when they're
that's
running on the
right.
beach?
That was the last time a half shirt was manly.
Well, so anyway, they influenced me when I was a kid.
Crop top.
Crop top, yeah.
Do you think crop tops are coming back?
There's a popular NFL running back that wears one.
Well, that's a good way to get attention. Isn't there a guy who also plays baseball and wears pearls?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
Is
Apollo.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah,
Apollo in a
see?
crop top.
See, where are those sleeves? Yeah.
Shorts are a little short. Also.
No,
look
those
at
shorts are perfect.
I loved him.
That's
in
my
Happy
outfit.
Gilmore.
Rocky didn't even have it on. It was Apollo wearing it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right. Why did I
okay.
think it was Rocky? In
Well,
my mind,
no,
it was
where's
Rocky.
but Rocky had a yellow
There you
one
go.
on at some time.
Oh, there he goes. He's got a crop top there.
Holy shit! Look at that. Look at those abs, though.
Oh, he was jacked.
So if you looked like that, wouldn't you wear that?
No. No.
If you danced for Chippendales?
Look at Prince. Look at the one with Prince.
Yeah, so I was trying to.
Where's that?
Right there. Damn, Prince looking pretty fly.
He looks jacked too. Shredded.
Yeah, Prince was in shape, man.
He was like 5'1" though, wasn't he?
Well, that's all he can do. He can't grow anymore.
Oh, okay.
But 4'5", he was in
I know.
great shape.
Well, I'm not too much over 5'1", actually. If we're being honest. Yeah.
The crop top is not coming back. I'm going to say that.
You don't.
I'm going to make a statement.
You can't prove that.
I brought back the fanny pack.
You did.
Fanny pack's back.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you people, a lot of people out there want to take credit for the fanny pack. I was on the fucking front lines since
Yeah.
the 90s. I never gave up on the fanny pack.
See Zeke. Zeke
Oh.
suit crop top,
Crop top suit.
Yeah.
Nice.
It doesn't look as good there as like over there.
like on the field.
Yeah, on the field.
Oh, wow. Well, he's pretty jacked. He wants to just show off those abs.
Yeah. No.
But it's also a good way to get people to pay attention to you, right?
Ohio State,
Doesn't hurt.
when he was running back there, he ran all over the Ducks in the national championship game. I went to that game.
Who's the dude that wears the pearls? There's a baseball player that wears pearls.
There's no
haven't heard
way.
Yeah. He's like
I haven't heard that.
he's like a major league player. And
Jock Peterson.
he wears pearls.
Oh. Why?
Because it's a good way to get people to pay attention to him. Look,
That
we're
is
talking about
pearls. That's like my grandma's
Yeah.
pearl
Look at him.
necklace.
He's wearing pearls.
Huh.
Maybe, yeah. It's got to be a superstition thing. Baseball players are known for superstitions.
Well,
Right. That's true.
at first I thought it was maybe puka shells, which puka shells
Yeah,
are
I'll
sick.
Is it a pearl? Is it a thing that's a superstition, or is it just
I'll do something different. Fashion statement.
I want to do something really different?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
he's just trying to get some attention.
For the
It's
women.
smart. We're paying attention. No,
We're talking
for
about
attention.
it.
Yeah.
For attention. It's a good move
He's
if you want to
just-
get extra.
Look at this. He's just a bad bitch.
Yeah, there's
Wow.
no story of just a bad bitch.
Yeah, he says, I saw the pearls and like, you know what? That looks cool. That there's no story. He's just a bad bitch. And it's a mystery for everyone. They'll never know. Well, they know now, bro. You talk about it, they know. If
On
you
the
just shut the fuck up, they wouldn't know. But now you tell everybody that
Yeah.
you're trying to give them a mystery. Well, there's no more mystery.
It's Jamie just figured out David Blaine's magic trick right there.
Well, what should he say if they asked him? Because they're going to ask. Like, hey, bro, what's up with that necklace? Just not saying, what necklace?
I like it.
It's
Just
called
say I like it.
It's
Fuck
called
off.
They're
big dick
definitely going to ask.
big
Yeah.
dick energy.
Yeah, big dick energy. Just wearing them pearls. It is funny though that like pearls are a jewelry that's specifically to women. Other than that, dude, because like in general, a lot of guys wear diamonds.
Yeah.
Like especially like rappers and like
Yeah.
God, they love diamonds. They have
Yeah.
crazy diamonds.
Definitely.
Not pearls.
No.
No,
Yeah, it's kind of pretty sexist, actually.
a little bit.
Yeah, I feel.
It's a jewel
kind of
for whatever
offended.
reason. I can't think it because it looks like loads. I think that's what it is. Pearl necklace, like the term pearl necklace.
That's true.
A
Yeah.
few.
Who's
A$AP
that?
Rocky is wearing one.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
what
Spreading
that
around.
is.
But when did they start doing this?
Kind
Not
of.
sure it's a big one.
Damn, those are big pearls. That looks actually pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know about good.
It's gotta be
Good?
some jewelry guy. It just talks them into buying it.
But I
right?
mean, how many guys are wearing like gold chains and diamond chains
Yeah.
around their neck? Fuck, man. You know Flossie Carter? You know the guy on YouTube? I follow Flossie Carter. Flossie Carter is he's a electronics guy. He's into like cell phones. He does like these amazing cell phone reviews. But he wears like the craziest jewelry, like diamonds all over his fingers. But he
Yeah.
knows his shit. Like when he's talking, when he's reviewing, it's very entertaining. He's very entertaining, but he's also very knowledgeable.
Okay.
Go to like Flossie's Instagram. There's a photo of him, he's like eating dinner, and he's got, I don't know, it looks like a Mr. T starter kit. He's got like fucking 20.
Has that ever happened in bow hunting?
No, look at that.
Should I wear pearls?
Look at Flossie. Look at all those rings.
God
It's like he's
damn.
got-
No, that.
Look, he's got everything. He's got them on his fingers. He's got them on his wrists. He's
But-
got them on his neck.
People like to talk about how much they're wearing, like how much value in that they're wearing.
That's a lot of value.
Yeah.
If those are real diamonds, I mean, that's got to be
Because I've heard
$500,000.
guys, I don't know, it could have been,
Look at that Medusa.
I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Colby talking about he was wearing a house around his neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Colby?
I know Jake Paul was doing that when he was trying to make that bet with Eddie Hearn. He's like, I'll bet you everything I'm wearing.
Right. Yeah. That's what. Maybe that's what it was.
It's
But
probably
yeah.
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
That
so-
makes sense. Jake Paul would do it. That makes
But
sense.
Colby had he had a nice kind of chaos necklace. It was pretty badass.
When he got in the fight with, not the fight, when he got jumped by Jorge Masvidal, didn't he break his Rolex watch? It's covered in diamonds?
Yeah.
That was like
I think he
part of
scratched it.
What happened?
I was going to look that up. That's the claim, is that it's being damaged, and that's part of the defense.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
they get to look at it
Yeah.
Oh.
and find out if it happened or if it is. And then
What if
that's
they find out if it's not even real
That's what
diamonds?
the claim is, that it's not a Rolex. It's called a Frankenstein, whatever that means.
What?
That's what the article said.
What does it mean? What is a Frankenstein?
Must be
What's
a,
that mean?
a
Probably
knockoff.
made of pieces like it. Like maybe it was a broken one. I honestly have no idea. I'm trying to guess what it meant. I thought
But
maybe you
A
knew.
Frankenstein.
But
I've
let's
never
look at
heard
that. Let's look at that chaos necklace. Because I was thinking about getting
Colby's
one.
Chaos neck. You gonna get one to support him?
Yeah.
when he
No,
fights
endure.
Dustin?
I'll get an endure
Oh,
one.
Endure. Yeah, there it is. Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a crown too.
See, that looks kind of sick, doesn't it?
No.
Would you wear that?
Nope. No. I don't even wear ring. I mean, I have a rubber ring on. I have
Yeah.
a rubber wedding ring. Look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, this is Michael Chandler's company.
Oh, okay.
So shout out to Michael Chandler's company. It's Groove Life.
Yeah.
Groove Ring.
yeah.
They make good rings, and they make a great belt too. I got
Yeah.
a Groove belt at home too. But this ring, this is like silicone.
Yeah.
This is the best for like, because I lifted today. If
Right.
you can lift. You don't even have to take it off. You don't even notice it's on.
Yeah.
And it's like super, super durable.
Nice. Well, good. Shout out to
This is what I
Chandler.
read. I don't
Shout
know
out to
what that
Michael
means.
Chandler. The defense believes that Covington's timepiece is a Frankenstein watch and doesn't hold as much value as an authentic Rolex. This would have a direct impact on a second charge of criminal mischief against Gamebred. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't worth as much and it got damaged.
Yeah, but it says a Frankenstein watch that doesn't hold as much value as an authentic Rolex.
Yeah.
It's either a fake Rolex. Yeah.
So
yeah,
he says
Google-
up there $95,000 Rolex.
Right.
So how much does a Frankenstein Rolex cost?
What does that mean? What is a Frankenstein watch? Is it okay to own one? Many enthusiasts thumb their noses at unoriginal watches, but they do have their upsides. I don't understand what's going on here.
Let's see. My guess is that you buy a used one and you fix a couple pieces on it.
Well, it says it right there.
Like a resto
It says
mod.
a watch that isn't in original condition or possibly has faked components, but that's turned into something of a misnomer. To me, a Frankenstein watch or Frankenwatch is cobbled together with often real but not necessarily correct parts, says Nick Pardo, previously a vintage watch expert at Analog Shift. which specializes in accessibly priced timepieces. So you have a dial from one model, hands from another, and it's built up from random parts. Huh. Okay. So instead of like if you got like an expensive watch that's like correct, has the correct bezel and the correct band, like it's got a different band and a different bezel or something like that.
Speaking of elitist, come on. It's all Rolex, right?
Yeah, I guess, unless it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? I don't know.
You're not going to put a Casio hands on there,
Maybe
are
it
you?
Maybe it will. There's a whole market for custom Seikos. They mod Seikos. I have a modded Seiko. I have a Seiko that I got from this dude in Toronto or in Vancouver. Where the fuck is he? But he modded it for me. And they take because there's a whole community that takes Seikos and they'll like put a different bezel on it and they do it different dial. Like the dial on mine is the face of the dial is made out of meteorite.
Oh.
They take a slice of meteorite and use that to make the dial. It's pretty dope.
That reminds me, did you get that knife made of mammoth tusk?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. The handle's made out of mammoth. Who made that?
It's outfit up in Alaska. It's like 80K knives, I think.
Should
Yeah.
probably give them a shout out.
Yeah, super cool knife though. But they sent us both one.
Yeah. And this box that you sent me,
Yeah.
this comes with a whole kit here.
Yeah,
I got
it
this.
does.
Was sitting here. This book, this Cameron Haynes Indoor book.
Yeah.
When you get it, can anybody get this
No.
other package?
No,
So this
no.
is just me.
Just pretty
Look,
much.
ladies and gentlemen, don't be jealous.
Yeah.
But I got a whole box in here, and there's
Yeah.
a book, and there's an Endure. Look at this. I got an Endure bookmark. Ooh, but I won't need this because I'm going to read it all in one sitting. I'm just going to take some Adderall and fucking bang through this book. And then what is this? This is an arrowhead? What is this fucking thing? The patch? What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
patch.
like, so if you have like some Velcro.
Yeah, those only went out to select you and Kim Kardashian got that.
Oh, Kim probably gave it to Pete Davidson, try to make him more manly. Pete, it's time to step up your game.
I hope it works.
And then this, Montana Knife Company.
Yeah, that's a cool knife.
Did they make an Endure knife?
Yeah.
Is it a
yeah,
specific
yeah.
knife?
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, let me get in here.
Josh at Montana Knife Company.
Oh,
Man.
look at that.
Yeah.
Does it say Endure anything? Oh, it does. It says Endure on the blade.
Yeah, how sweet's that? So that's a company. It's like you got to I mean, how could you not want to support somebody like Josh and a company like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, super quality stuff.
Oh, amazing knives.
And we used their knives last year to break down that bull in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, workmanship and just the quality of the knife, and then on top of all that, the people.
Yeah.
And so he signed on for that. Those are like the VIP packages for the books, and he made those Endure knives and
Fancy.
Yeah.
I love fancy things.
You got to make a splash.
I know. I love exclusive things.
You know, people like me don't make New York Times bestseller lists. So
Maybe
we
you
gotta
do. Maybe you
pull
make it with this.
We better pull it out of the stops.
Hasn't someone on this podcast complained that their book didn't get on the New York Times seller list, even though they sold enough copies to be on the New York Times bestseller list? Who was that? It might have been Brett Weinstein.
No, you know
and
who?
Heather Hine.
You know who I think it might
Or
have been?
Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Was it?
12 Rules for Life, I think, sold like these amazing amount of copies and didn't make it somehow. So they say it's more subjective.
Ooh, that's weird.
But let's see, some small town redneck bow hunter doesn't really fit in with that crowd, does
We're
it?
going to find out. We're going to find
if it
out.
was simple
Jordan
plan,
Peterson's
but yeah.
book is a bestseller, except where it matters most.
Right.
Controversial author Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life fails to crack the New York Times prestigious bestseller list. We set out to find out why.
Right.
I wonder what Deborah Dundas found out.
Yeah, how does that make sense?
I don't know.
Yeah, so is
Well,
it bestseller, or where's the subjective part come in?
I think they just decide that someone's problematic and
Yeah.
they don't like what they stand for.
Maybe.
You know, it's like everybody's just so quick to be not just judge, but to fucking just cast someone out of the kingdom forever. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with that person. That person's that's a bad person. They have bad ideas. I don't
Yeah.
like their ideas. And they don't even listen to him. He's like the most misrepresented person I think I've ever encountered.
I have a hard time not listening to him and going, God dang, this guy's smart. You know, I mean, just
Whenever
like
you say, God dang, this guy's smart, it makes people like, hard to listen to you.
okay, how should I say it?
Gosh golly. Gee whiz, he's smart.
No, but how do you listen to him and like try to discredit him at all?
Well, I mean, he says goofy things sometimes like we all do. You know, when you're forming sentences and you're speaking in real time like
Gosh
we're
dang.
doing right now. Yeah, there you go. Like, I do that. I say if you wanted to, like, cherry pick stupid shit I've said, you're going to
Yeah.
have a fucking great time.
Field
Because
day.
I've said a lot of dumb shit. But it's
Well-
just because I'm thinking and talking in real time.
Right.
Over hours and hours and hours of shows.
Remember when this used to be live?
Oh, my God, yeah.
That's some
The
pressure.
problem with that is that people were profiting off of it. They were stealing the content and making these YouTube pages with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It was wild to watch.
Yeah.
It was like there's businesses were popping up where they were stealing content and getting ad revenue. I was like, this is strange.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good opportunity for the New York Times bestseller list to turn over a new leaf.
Well,
And to not be
I don't think
biased.
your book is something that they're going to have a problem with. Your book is basically something that, regardless of your political ideology, this is all about mindset and hard work and a person who's endured a lot in life. And I think everyone can benefit from it. I mean, I know a lot of people that are very progressive and left-wing, and they love the content that you put out. They love what you say. Because, look at that. Number one new release. Oh, shit. It's already the number one new release. Already.
But in business and self-improvement,
That's incredible.
I mean,
that's really
not
good.
that's not really my jam.
That's amazing that it's number one already, and it hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah,
This is all
tomorrow.
just pre-sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also this podcast hasn't come out yet, and it's still number one.
Yeah.
That's fucking incredible.
yeah.
Cameron Haynes, you're gonna make that goddamn New York Times bestseller list, and
well,
we're gonna celebrate.
I owe a lot of that credit to you.
I owe a lot to you, my friend. You have inspired me. You've been a great friend, and you taught me how to bow hunt. That's changed so much of my life, you know, and it's enriched my life and a lot of other people's too.
Oh, well, I mean, it's been an honor to be your friend.
It's been an honor to be yours as well.
Thank you.
Let's end on that little wishy-washy shit. Young Jamie, it's an honor to know you too.
Yeah, love you,
Thank you.
Jamie.
I love you both.
Oh, we love you too.
God.
Aw,
This has never ended so sweet.
Let's end it now before we fuck it up. All right, Endure. It's available as you listen to this or see this. It's available right now. Please go out and get it. It's fucking awesome. And I wrote the foreword. All right. Goodbye, everybody.